You know, if you take everything I've accomplished in my entire life and condense it down into one day, it looks decent.
All right, hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to another episode of The Decent Show. It's your host, Ryan, as always, mixing things up tonight. We have a special guest instead of Reagan, so it's probably going to be a fantastic episode. Shout out, Reagan. But yeah, I got Kerby here in the house tonight. Kerby, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm excited to be here. I've heard a lot about this, and I really am excited to be on this episode.
We're excited to have you. We just did your podcast, Huff and Stuff Podcast, if you want to plug that real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's up to you.
We just hit double-digit viewers, so very excited about that. We just crossed from 9 to 10, so if you want to check that out, it's on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, probably other ones, but there's a lot of things, and it's a lot of good content. Check it out.
And that is Huff, the letter N, Stuff?
Yes, and then sports. That, or you can just check out my name, Kerby Huffman. It's all online.
Okay, awesome. So hopefully they can find you there. As always, you guys are listening to us here at The Decent Show. We did Kerby's podcast, and it's definitely a more professional podcast. He actually promotes it. He's got a catchy name and all of that good stuff. And it's a little bit of a cleaner podcast. You know, we definitely, I hope I didn't cuss, did I?
No, fuck that. You didn't at all. Yeah.
So I didn't cuss on your podcast, but I want to welcome you to our podcast where we're going to pretty much say whatever we want.
Right.
You can cuss. You know, have you gotten to do a podcast where you've let loose, where you kind of just...
I did that on mine, and now the reason that I actually don't swear is because my dad called me. He was the first listener I had all the way through an entire 45-minute podcast.
Nice guy.
Called me and said, hey, I really like what you had to say. I've never heard you say fuck before. And I said, Dad, I'm 23 years old, and I'm surprised you've never heard me say it. And he's like, yeah, I'm just really worried about Grandma and what she would think. So that's what I kind of made me feel like, wow, I'm doing all this content, and those are probably my two heaviest followers. I don't want to upset those people. So
it's very nice of you.
Now we're on LinkedIn. You know, things are getting pretty professional around here. Fun fact, the actual title, if you look on my website, is Professional Sports Blog.
Yes, yeah. Of course. It better be. So I was very cautious. I felt like I was a little too casual, said dude and man, and luckily didn't cuss. So I was proud of myself there because I tend to go on some tangents here. That's why we've never promoted the show, because we can't stop cussing.
It's fine. I mean, that's a natural way of how people speak, honestly. If you're trying to censor yourself, you're getting rid of all your best content. So it's fun to freely express yourself, and it really feels like this is a good place to do it.
So do you want to talk about dating apps first or movies first? Because I'm dying to talk about both of them.
Okay. I think you're definitely excited about the dating apps.
Yes.
So you introduced me to this new concept of Facebook dating.
Right.
I've seen ads for it. I've never been risky enough. Never been risky enough.
It's hysterical.
Tell me, just encapsulate it for me.
Yeah. So if you like, now again, Decent Show is a very gender neutral, gender positive show. We love free expression. We love everyone. Don't care about your race, your gender, your pronoun. We're very accepting of everybody. So if I sound insensitive on my upcoming comments, I apologize. But basically,
good transition, by the way.
Yeah,
that was a pun.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, I said that was a pun.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Transitioning, I love it. I feel like I'm transitioning mid-conversation. That's how fluid I am. So anyway, if you're on Facebook dating and you love overweight black women, or
I do,
or women that are younger than you that have multiple kids, or both, Facebook dating is the place for you.
Yeah, it's really like the conclusion that I drew, and not to sound judgmental, but I will, is that if you're on dating apps, myself included, you're on there for a reason. You know,
yes.
All the attractive women generally get picked up in person, and here are the others, you know, and that's so I've met some gems. I've met some amazing girls on there. None of them have worked out in the long run, but it's all an experience. You're all here in life pretty short, relatively. So go have your fun, go enjoy yourself. And do you match with people on Facebook Marketplace or not Marketplace?
It's a marketplace.
Yeah. So that's the only Facebook.
I'm actually
side
gonna
app.
pull up the profile right now, just to give you some gems in here. Let me find the profiles. But yeah, on there, it's literally the same as Tinder, but it's unlimited likes.
Okay.
And it's a little bit more personalized because you have the bio, and then you also have like all these questions. I think it's similar to Bumble, where it's like you can put your religious views, you can put whether you have or don't have kids, smoking and drinking habits, and that all of that's optional. You don't even have to put that if you don't want to, but it lets you.
Right. Is it any restrictions like Bumble where the girls have to message first?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I think you can even message before matching if you really wanted to. It's a little limited. You can like maybe comment on one of their photos before matching if you wanted to.
Unpopular opinion, but when the girl leads in first, it's generally a less interesting start to the conversation.
When she starts it?
When she starts it, they always say, hey, with 3 Ys.
Always.
And it's like, or they ask a really specific question, like, what's your favorite season? Like, all right, well, I already hate this conversation.
Yeah,
so
I hate that you've done this.
Yeah, there are some good ones. Sometimes they will be so ballsy, and I'm really impressed by their balls. But basically, I've had my fair share of positive and negative experiences, leaning on the negative side. But I do think it's kind of hilarious that this is the way our culture works now. Yeah. Honestly,
it is. It's baffling. This is one of my favorite profiles. This chick liked me first, and on the profile, her name's Tiffany. She's 38. She's probably liked most of the men in the Houston area based on what I'm hearing. But on the bio, it says, do 3 words, 3 sentences, or 3 paragraphs. Like, do whatever you want to describe yourself. So she chose 3 words.
Okay.
Her 3 words are fun, flirty, and fuckalicious. Right out the gate. Well, she's a marketing specialist.
Oh, that's almost our job title.
Yeah, she went to community college.
Okay, good start.
She apparently never smokes. She often drinks, though.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's funny. They give you the social option or the frequent option, as if, no, it's not even social. It's just when I need one.
Yes, and these are some of her, like, it gives you little things you can select from if you want to kind of let people know a little bit more about you. So she chose a phrase I say often is, her phrase was, fuck my life. Classic. Okay. Her favorite topic of conversation is music. That's pretty tame. But now listen to this one. It's my favorite part of her profile. Something I'm embarrassed to admit that I love is come. LOL, true story.
I need more information from her. I don't know if that's a story or just an image of something awful that went wrong with her.
Yeah, it's right there. Something I love, come.
I'm embarrassed. Oh, that I love. Okay.
Something I'm embarrassed to say that I love is come.
And LOL. The picture behind it is kind of all telling. Honestly.
Kind of revealing, yeah. And then shortly after that, favorite time of day, total night owl. Favorite quote, Dr. Seuss. She loves cum and Dr. Seuss,
wow.
So, you can tell.
She loves cum here, she loves cum there, she loves cum anywhere. So.
Right. And then to cap off her profile, it's Sunday morning. The first thing I do when I wake up is, she put, I'm already awake. Don't usually sleep on the weekends, but if I did, it'd be the same as any morning when I wake up. Pee.
My favorite part is that she literally could have just said pee.
Pee.
And then decided to give a whole explanation about her daily schedule. What, she doesn't sleep on the weekends?
No.
Like what?
What's the point?
You only get 48 hours.
You gotta get the most out of your weekend.
Oh, all right. Let me compare that. This is nowhere near the profile that is, but this is a girl that I actually matched with last night. And from her picture, she's a very cute girl. And I don't even remember matching with her in particular, but it says, on Thursday, I drank an entire bottle of wine, a pitcher of rum and coke, 2 vodka shots, and a White Claw, and I did not have a hangover in the morning. The next morning, I went to church because I love Jesus.
That's her profile.
Can you hang? I love Southern gentlemen.
That's her profile.
Yeah.
So she's looking for a total redneck that loves drinking in church.
Yeah, so I let in and just said, give me the best drunk story of your life. And I shit you not, I could not even screenshot it because it's 2 full pages of story where it basically has 3 word sentences. So I got drinks. Then I got fucked up. Then I fell asleep on the sidewalk. Then my friends abandoned me for 90 minutes.
And she does that for 2 pages.
2 full pages of just bit sentences. And she kept going and going and going. And I don't know if it's, again, shallow, but I was a little bit turned off every single time. I kept reading details, even though I asked her to tell me the story. But it was 2 full stories of, I got really fucked up, and my friends lost me because I was too drunk, and I woke up on a sidewalk. And she kind of said it like, isn't that crazy? Isn't that cool? And aren't I so funny? I'm a girl and I drink. But no, I've had a plethora of some repugnant women that I've been I was going to say through, that's not the case. The stories that I've accrued are quite disastrous. There was a girl I went on 2 dates with and then invited me to meet her parents, and then reveals to me that, or actually she said, "Can you tell from the way that I kiss that I'm a virgin?" And I said, "Well, now I can." So, so that was pretty bad. She worked at a bingo parlor, and
so she works at a bingo parlor.
yeah, owned by her family.
Owned by her family.
Right.
She's a virgin. Actually,
Right.
that's a big telltale sign. If
Right.
it was just a regular bingo parlor, that's a little out there.
She was also very pro-Palestine. She
What-
kept telling me that.
Oh.
Often.
I don't,
So-
I know what that means, but I really don't even know what that
It
means.
means anti-Jewish, basically.
Oh,
yeah.
Then that's...
Well, not necessarily. They're rival countries because
Right,
they're
right.
fighting over the same land.
Land,
Not
yes.
to get political here.
Yes.
But she kept telling me how pro-Palestinian she was.
I
and
like how you told the
Yeah.
computer not to get political here. You told the computer, don't worry, it's not going to get too political.
that was a little bit scary, and I think I had to. Other fun fact: I did fall asleep at her house. I was watching.
Dangerous.
I was watching the movie The Count of Monte Cristo, and
How was that?
It was not good. I fell asleep. So, so that was that. You know, I left it at that. And shout out Desiree if you're listening here. But
On the Decent Show.
yeah, God, where can I go from there? All right, there was one, and so you guys don't know me that well yet, but let's just say this will tell me not who I am today, but who I once was at an 18-year-old persona.
Okay.
If that's fair.
That's fair.
We've all made some pretty questionable decisions at 18.
Oh, I made a few.
I made some pretty bad ones today.
Right.
But I also have a lot of stories, but I just want you to know I've changed,
Okay.
mostly for the better, a little bit for the worse. But so at this point, I was very experimental. I was into doing a lot of things. I was a pretty heavy smoker, right?
Okay.
I liked trying new
Cigarettes
things.
or marijuana?
Never cigarettes.
Okay.
Always marijuana.
Okay.
But since kind of cut back quite heavily. But at the time, I really liked smoking, and my friend said, "Hey, what if we tried acid?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I guess I'll try it." So I tried it, and we took 2 tabs because clearly one is just for weaklings, you know. And we
Yeah.
had no previous experience. We had no idea what to base it off of.
One, if you have no previous experience, one's fine.
Yeah, and I now
Half
know
of
that.
one.
I
Half of
now
one's
know
fine.
that.
Yeah.
So I was in college, and I was with a group of friends, and I found out halfway through the trip that the 2 people that I was hanging out with had been secretly dating this whole time.
Okay.
Which they revealed to me in like it was a game show. Like,
And did that bother you?
yeah, because I actually did kind of have a crush on one of the girls
That's
there.
why they
So I
didn't
was
tell
like,
you.
that's a weird thing to find out in this state. 'Cause
You had
I'm
a
also-
crush on the girl that was dating.
Yeah,
You're
and
right.
it was a good friend. It was just a whole complicated situation. So I decided to remove myself from the situation because that's how you run away from your problems.
Exactly.
You get out the door and you run.
Yes.
So I go all the way back to my dorm, and I meet up with another girl who then picks me up, and she brings her boyfriend. And at this point, I'm like, can I go into a room where people are like not together or not kissing or like not making me feel awkward, right?
A room where you're not a third wheel.
Exactly. So I go back to my room, and I started watching the movie Friday. I'd never seen it before. Yeah. So great time. 4:30 in the morning, by the way.
A great time
So
to watch it.
amazing time. So also, this sounds like a fragment of, or how do you say?
Were you
Basically,
still tripping?
yeah. Oh, hard. So hard. This never went away. It was like 12 hours.
Yeah.
I was so entranced in the movie that I dropped my phone out the window.
I
Yeah.
thought hotel windows didn't even open.
No, it was not a hotel. It was a dorm. I was in a dorm.
You were in a dorm.
So,
You
yeah.
went back to your dorm.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's how into the
Why
movie
was
I
Friday on?
I put it on.
Like you put it.
I downloaded it illegally. I
Okay.
put it on. Yeah.
I was gonna say 'cause I knew you didn't have cable in your
Yeah,
dorm.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like,
But anyway, so then I was like, oh shit, I guess my phone's downstairs. So I had to go downstairs. I assume there were a lot of people like looking at me, even though it's 4:30 in the morning. So I go down and get my phone
Yeah,
and I
who would
check
be
it.
out there looking at
I
you?
check it and I have a Tinder notification, and
hang on. Who would be looking at you at 4:30 in the morning?
I just assumed
Nobody.
I assumed everyone was.
That's right, you're
there was
tripping.
no crowd.
Yeah.
There was no crowd
There's
around
no
me.
crowd.
Like,
There's
do
nobody
they
there.
see me? Do they see me?
Not a person.
So I don't really have a frame of reference here. I don't know what to do, but I was matching with her. It said she matched like that minute. So she's awake, right? So I said, "Hey, where are you at?" Not even like, "Hello, how are you? Who are you? What's going on?" I said, "Where are you at?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm at this this unit." And I was like, "That's next door to mine. It's the next building over." So I just said, "Yeah,
Proximity, baby.
Yeah, so that's the best thing about those proximity apps is they're right there." So I said, "Can I come over?" And she's like, "Yeah, bring weed." And I was like, "It's in my hand." So yeah. So I had at that point.
You had it in the dorm?
Yeah, I smoked every day in the dorm.
In the dorm?
Well, that's why the window was open. That's why my
You
phone.
never got caught by an RA?
Never once. No, I
What?
sold weed to my RA.
What? Wow. Okay. What college?
UTSA. Shout out Roadrunners.
Dude, yeah,
I was
shout
in
out
Chaparral Village, Building 2, just for reference.
Dude,
Cops.
I would get in trouble just for coming back to the dorm high. Like I wouldn't even have anything
no,
on me.
it was
and they would
it
like,
was super casual. I could smoke on my
Not-
balcony, out the window,
oh,
wherever.
dude, fuck you.
So it was nice, but at this point, I'm thinking, look, guys, guys that I'm talking to right now. I definitely had this in the bag. It's 4:30 in the morning. Things are good.
She said, "Come over. You have weed."
I will say, at the time, I was particularly kind of a nervous guy. I wasn't very confident with the ladies, but what helps the most, other than 2 tabs of acid? So I go over there, and then I start to realize like why I thought people were looking at me. There's a campus police guard that's walking around the neighborhood, and I'm
late.
Mm-hmm. That
Dude's dedicated.
Yeah. So I come home. I'm still walking from my dorm to hers. It's just like a 1-minute walk, and I have a box in it that has nothing but weed in it. Right? There's no possible excuse I could have other than it's weed in there.
Yeah.
So I walk by this cop, and I'm seeing him, and I'm thinking, do I make contact with him, or like, is he going to be suspicious if I don't say hi?
Oh,
like,
you got in one
so
of those.
that I'm like,
that's a trap, dude.
"Hello, officer."
Oh my
and then he goes, "Hey there," and then I just kept walking. Like, he was the awkward one, and I was like, "Thank God." Okay, so I make it to the door, and I realized I never took a hard look at her pictures. I just assumed that it was a human woman. So
It was trans.
No, she looked like a very cute Asian girl in the picture, or ambiguous, but I opened the door. I don't know if I was mentally prepared for this. Most of it was the acid. The other part of it was the girl not looking anything like her pictures. But she looked like a monster. Like a literal monster.
Like she was huge.
No, I don't mean that as a derogatory way. I mean my acid vision made her look like a monster person. Yeah, so it looks like if Courtney, who's the fattest Kardashian? Khloe?
Oh, yeah.
She's not even bad looking, but she's the biggest one.
Right.
It looked like if there were 2 of her in one body.
Okay.
So, and I basically...
So you have like a Minotaur, like, fat model.
Yeah, it's Khloe Kardashian as a Minotaur on acid is what I'm about to hang out with.
Okay.
So I go in the dorm and we start smoking and we're having a pretty awkward conversation. And I told her, I was like, "Look, I gotta come clean. I'm tripping balls right now. I don't know if this is even happening." And she goes, "Oh, don't worry. I just did a bunch of Xanax." And I was like, "Okay, well, that's not good either, but it makes me feel better."
I guess.
Yeah. So then eventually we made out. We're having a good time. And this is where, if it hadn't been already, it's about to get a little bit more X-rated.
I'm assuming you immediately closed your eyes because you were making out with what you think is a monster.
I don't think I'm physically capable at this point of closing my eyes. They're so pried open by the chemicals.
Okay,
So,
well, take me through your head when you're making out with this monster.
I was thinking...
Like, you think it's a monster.
It was a monster. I was pretty scared. And I was more so like, I don't know how to get out of this. I don't know what to do. I'm already here. That was actually the one thought that I left out. I opened the door, and my first thought was, you can just not enter. You could just go right back to your dorm and just be such a dick and ruin this girl's whole self-esteem.
You could have maybe explained it right from the get-go.
Sorry, wrong door.
No. I'm looking for 4B.
Yeah, right. So anyway, I decided, look, I'm here. Life's a trip, quite literally, and I'm just going to go through with it. And at this point, she puts her hands down my pants and started stroking. And I can't...
Were you hard?
No.
At all?
No, not at all.
Because of her, because of the acid, or both?
Both. I don't think
both.
I think that it was an inappropriate time.
I didn't tell you. So on the Decent Show, we say both.
Both?
B-O-F.
Like both of them? Both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
B-O-F.
Perfect.
I'm just messing with
you.
I'm messing with you. Anyway, go ahead.
So basically, to ruin everyone's night, it was the worst acid hand job you could ever receive in your life. And I've never said this in my life.
She's playing with a limp dick.
Right. And she has no concept of what's happening because she's also kind of out of her element, too.
You could tell?
No, I mean, like, she was just like, "Oh, yeah. And I'm like, no. So then I said, "Can you please stop?" And at that point, I said, "I think we should just hang out for the rest of the night and not do anything, if that's cool with you." And I was just like, maybe I'm nervous, I don't know, but I'm also freaking the fuck out. So she falls asleep almost immediately, right? So she falls asleep on my arm. Once again, this is a very large woman. So my arm...
So she is large.
She was large. Yeah.
Okay.
She was large and in charge. So I was pretty terrified. And she falls asleep on my arm, and I was in the corner of her bed, like so uncomfortable. My arm is stuck, and I feel like James Franco in 127 hours. Because I literally couldn't get out. That's what I'm saying. I felt like James Franco in 127 hours with my arm inside this rock that is an immovable object. And I'm thinking, do I cut it off? Do I rip it out and possibly fling her off the bed?
Yeah.
There's no good move here.
No.
So I did the only logical move. And I don't know if you ever had a girl on top of your arm and you're just trying to gradually get out. But I slide it out over the course of 6 hours.
No.
I slept
Stop.
there over a night, and I was so afraid of her waking up and seeing me sneak in the middle of the night that I'm just gradually inching and moving, and it's so stuck. And she had a poster of just some crazy psychedelic thing that I'm making eye contact with this poster the whole time. I'm trying to get my arm out the whole time. It's just not happening.
So you did 6 hours of that.
Full 6 hours. I couldn't use my phone because it was on the other
sleep?
side. I didn't sleep. No, not even a little bit. And this is like 10 a.m. at this point that I get out. And I left all my possessions. I literally just didn't even care. I got my wallet and my key to my dorm and my phone. I left everything else that I brought. And no, I left like all paraphernalia. It was all legal things anyway. But I left it all there, and I literally pounced like a cat out of the door, like off the bed, and then I closed the door. And the second that she closed the door, or that I closed the door, she's like, "Are you leaving?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna deal with this." So I was like, "I gotta take a shower." And then I ran away. I literally sprinted back to my dorm.
Did you ever see her again?
Yes. I was at a bar with a girl that I was dating later, almost 2 years later, and then I made eye contact with her from across the room, and I hit the floor, and then I crawled to the bathroom. I wish that any part of that was not true, because I was terrified of that interaction.
Jeez.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell the girl that
I
I was...
would have waved.
No. You have more balls than I do, but I was straight up horrified. I couldn't do it. Like, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And, so that's probably the worst individual night of my life.
Yeah. So you did remind me of a story, because I feel like so few compared to you.
No. I mean, everyone has pretty eventful lives by comparison.
No. I feel like I've done the right stuff to have messed up stories, but I'm too responsible in those moments to let the messed up stuff happen.
Yeah, exact opposite. And
I know.
I paid the price, but it's also a good
But
story.
you have better stories.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So there was one night, I think it was... Oh, maybe it wasn't even Tinder, dude. Maybe it was I think I just had class with her.
Okay, yeah.
So I definitely had class with her. Like, I knew her, and we had each other's cell phone number because it was required through the class or the group project or whatever. But she had, I think I had hit it off with her cousin, who I didn't even know was her cousin.
Okay.
I, hit it off with this guy, and we're, hanging out, and I think we were walking from, we had to park across campus, so we're walking from the parking lot to the dorms.
Sure.
And in that process, we passed by a female dorm with his female cousin.
Oh, they were separate gender?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we had 2 co-ed dorms, and then all the rest were boy girl.
Okay.
We didn't have that many dorms, small school. So
Sure.
anyway, we passed by her dorm. She says what's up. I already knew her. And so the three of us are like, oh shit, I was like, how do y'all know each other? Oh, we're cousins. And I was like, oh fuck. And so I'm friends with both of them. And I guess because of me being friends with him, she wanted to be closer to me because we hadn't previously talked in class.
Okay.
So she's hitting me up every now and then asking to hang out. And I'm just not feeling it because I already know what her intentions are, and I'm not attracted to her.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Yeah.
right from the I already because
At least you can recognize that from here.
I recognized it right from the get go because her and her cousin were a bunch of crazy hicks, bro, and it was where they were from. It was normal to go to prom with your cousin.
Oh my God.
Not kidding. They were from.
That's a joke, but I know that you're being serious.
I'm dead serious. They were from towns that are between Lubbock and Amarillo, and Lubbock and Amarillo are already
I've been through there. That's sad.
Awful.
Yeah, that's a bad area.
Meth too. A lot of meth out there. I'm
Yeah.
not saying they did meth. I don't know, but anyway. So I knew I'll be friends with them because they're fucking funny and they're nice enough people. And they like getting fucked up. So, I had no problem with them, but I knew that I didn't want to date her in any capacity.
Right, okay.
And I knew that's what she was going for. And then I didn't drink a lot at this point, so it was one of my first nights being drunk.
Oh, so you're brand new to this. Okay,
Right.
I get it.
So, I'm drunk, and I'm man, I'm really horny. And I'm I'm tired of being in college. I mean, I was still a freshman, but I was I'm tired of being in college and not hooking up. I'm texting the fucking hick chick. And my friend was like, that's a bad idea. He's like, you're always talking.
You can't stop a horny man in college.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He's like, you've been talking about how you don't like her. I wouldn't text her, dude. And I was like, nah, because he was sober. And I was like, nah, dude, I have to. I was like, I'm ready. And so I hit her up, and sure enough, she's like, yeah, come over. And I was like, bet. And
Did you say bet?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
No, I'm just- and so I was like, hey, man, you got to give me a ride. I can't.
Yeah. Smart move.
I was like, I can't do it. I can't make it. he's like, I'll give you a ride because you're gonna get laid, but he's like, you don't want to do this, and I was like, I have to.
Right.
And
this is my moment.
And he's driving me over there, and I was like, dude, I'm so drunk, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get hard. And he goes, well, you're gonna need to get hard. And I go, you're right, dude. I was like, I'm gonna do a trial run. I was like, if it's cool with you, man, I'm gonna start watching porn right now. And see.
No.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna see if I can.
In the car. Oh my
I was like, dude,
God.
I'm literally gonna pull up porn on my phone and like see if I can get.
What was his reaction?
He was like, he knew how drunk I was, I guess, because he was super chill, and he's normally not that chill. He was like, yeah, man, like I guess, like do what you gotta do. He's like, you gotta get hard, man. I was like, no doubt. And so I'm like, I literally pull up porn. I like pull up some like big tit Hispanic woman and like see what I can do. And I'm like basically fondling myself watching porn in the car.
Yeah.
And he's driving me there. And I'm
what
like,
a good buddy. Let me just say that.
He's a nice guy, yeah. And I'm like, dude, I don't think it's gonna work, man. He's like,
oh, you could tell. It doesn't have. It had nothing to do with the fact there was another man in the car.
Part of it was that I was like, I don't know if it's just because you're here or if it's because I'm drunk.
Were you
or
trying?
I was trying to.
Yeah. Oh no, that's bad.
Because I went to like one of my favorite videos. Like I already knew.
Oh,
I already knew where I was going. Yeah. So
you go incognito.
I do now.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing that for the longest time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. I didn't think about it.
I had to throw away a whole iPad once.
Nice. Yeah. Because
such a bad history.
Okay.
Like, search history.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean so.
I mean, you don't want to know.
Okay, cool. I mean, I kind of want to know. But anyway, I was like, dude, I don't think I can do it. He goes, well, we're already here. Because it's not that far. It's a small town. He's like, we're already here now. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going in. He goes, good luck, man. And I don't even know if I closed out the porn. I think I just locked my phone.
I've done that too.
Yeah, and just like went in there, and dude, it was bad. Like, we had same thing as you. Awkward conversation. I think I basically I was so mad at myself for being there that I basically looked at her and I was like, hey, are we doing this or not?
You said that like an ultimatum?
Basically. Because I was like, like I'm drunk.
You know,
like I came over here, I was like, I'll go home, but like, and she's like, let's go then. And I was like, okay. And so I went in. Some of the worst sex I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was awful, dude. That's why I'm not a hookup guy, because I was...
Like, you gotta be in the moment and inspired. You gotta feel like this is the right decision. Even as a guy saying that, like you gotta know that this is legit.
And I guess I feel like this is going way too detailed, but basically I got hard enough to penetrate, and so I'm doing my thing, and I'm on top doing all the work, like doing a plank at this point, and I'm like, I was like, now I'm working out, I'm exhausted. And I'm looking at the clock. I literally have a clock. I have a clock in my eyesight, and I was like, dude, fuck this clock.
I've never once looked at a clock before.
Oh, dude.
That's such a good idea, though.
So mad, dude. 45 minutes went by. And, like, I don't even know if she was enjoying it. All I know...
No, if it's 45 minutes and you're not enjoying it, she's not enjoying it.
She must not have been, dude. Because I was like... Well, I finally looked at her. I was like, hey, like, I don't think I'm going to come, so if you're cool, like, I'll just stop. I think that's what it came down to.
That sadness at the end of it.
Well, because, like, I don't know if... I have no clue if she had an orgasm. I'm going to assume no. Just because I don't want to assume yes. I feel like that makes me sound cocky. But at the same time, I mean, I had a boner. And I was, humping forever, it felt like. Dude, I was...
That's a pretty legendary amount of time to not have good sex, though. To stick with it. If you're looking at the clock, you know how if you put something in the microwave and you look at that clock, and that's the slowest amount of time you've ever seen. If you're having a bad time and looking at a clock, and you're exercising, that's a lot.
I think it's because I was going in and out of consciousness.
Oh my God.
I think, like, my eyes would
look up, oh my God, 10 minutes just passed.
Yeah, I was like, oh, thank God. 10 minutes. But yeah, so that's way too descriptive, but that's
No, I'm glad you did. I feel like I know you better now.
That is something I would do. Yeah.
I will raise you, not necessarily in that category of story, but in terms of embarrassing life content. So, actually, this happened probably 2 or 3 days before. Yeah, maybe before I met you or after I met you, but in that same time. So right when we started with the Rockets Shop.
Right.
So I frequent a lot of EDM concerts. I love raving. I'm not one of those annoying rave guys that wears all the candy and stuff.
That's why you need to... Oh, dude, EDC sold out. Never mind. I was going to say you need to come to EDC, but
it's probably going to get canceled too.
Well, it's going to get postponed.
Okay.
But even if it gets postponed,
I would
have
still
to get
like
a resale ticket because it's sold out.
Right. There's a lot on sale eventually. But So I like to find these specific artists that I really like. I'm not just trying to go to the biggest show or the best venue. I have very particular artists I really, really like. And there's one, I'll say his name, but you probably don't know him. His name is Habstract. He's a French dude. And I was so hyped for this show. You have no idea. I've been thinking about it all week. And I know that, okay, so I like to get a tiny bit drunk, but not a lot, right? Because if you're too drunk, that's sloppy. If you're not drunk at all, you're just thinking about when you're going to drink at the bar. You don't want to spend the $10 drinks at the clubs.
If it's even 10, dude, sometimes
No, it's like 12, 15, you know.
Terrible, yeah.
So anyway, so I'm planning on going with this girl, and this is not a girl I'm trying to pursue, but I'm going with a girl.
You need somebody to go with.
Right, okay, and she's not a raver whatsoever.
Oh.
So I was thinking, well, we'll just drink a lot or even a little bit and then just have a good time. And I mean, if you don't have a good time, at least I'm having a good time, right? That's a good mentality. So then she drops out entirely. She just said, I'm not going to go anymore. And
Why?
she said she got nervous or she had anxiety. And it's like, I get that. But what's the most anxious part about a show? You see the songs and you don't like them? Like, what's the worst that could happen, really? Further on, it's not a big deal, but I decide I'm going to go solo. That's fine. But if I'm going solo, I want to go big and then go home after. So I have a buddy who's a bartender, and he actually met up with me knowing my situation. He said, all right, I'm going to make you some amazing drinks. You're going to enjoy this concert. You're going to have a good time. We made a lot of tequila drinks. We made a lot of vodka drinks, and I'm able to control myself because I know how much I can drink per drink, whatever. This guy makes doubles instead of singles every single time without telling me. So I couldn't really, that was my mistake, was not tasting it, but he's a good bartender. So then I've had about 3 doubles, which is now 6 drinks. And then I said, okay, I need one last drink that's going to give me some energy before I go. So I don't know if you've heard this, Monster has coffee, Monster Energy coffee. Would never drink it, but this night it was the only dark thing I could mix with bourbon. I had bourbon that was 57.5% alcohol.
Jesus.
So
On you. Just for
yeah.
you.
Oh, somebody gave it to me as a tip at one of my jobs. Hadn't tried it. I just knew it was going to be strong. So I pour up pretty much a double of that, which is about 110 proof, and then I pour in a Monster Energy drink inside of that. Chug the whole thing because my Uber got here a lot faster than I thought, and before I closed the door, I already blacked out. I couldn't do anything. So I'm, like you said, coming in and out of consciousness, and I hate that feeling. I never like being not in control of my actions.
Right.
But I get to the concert, I am the most confident I've ever been. Who goes to a club solo and just vibing out like that? I felt like that dude right there, right? So at this point, do you know how to shuffle?
I'm learning.
I have no idea how to shuffle. That night, I shuffled for an hour. I was just crushing it. I was making it up and clearly not doing well, but also the floor was so slippery from all the spilled drinks that I was just sliding across the floor effortlessly, and I was just on top of the world. Then I get really sweaty. I'm a pretty perspirate guy. So I take off my shirt, and it's one of those nice, I got at a thrift shop, a nice button-up shirt. Take that thing off, throw it in the corner, and I'm just dancing. I have a dance circle around me. Things are going well for me, right? And I still don't really register the fact that I'm even at this concert. I'm just vibing out.
And this is Habstract.
Habstract.
Where at?
It's Stereo Live.
Okay.
Infamously, like the worst club ever.
Really?
Just, it's got horrible reviews in terms of prices, management, sound quality. All the best performers go there, but it's just not a good place. But
Why do the best ones go there then?
because it's the most popular in Houston.
Why?
The Toyota Center's nice, but nobody goes to concerts there. The Revention Center's nice, but it's just a very popular club setting rather than like a big extravagant concert. It's like a club. So anyway, I'm there. I'm dancing way too much. I'm having a great time. Again, shirt is off, and at that point I realized I was being really annoying. I was recording the whole concert on my phone. Because I was like, I hate that. And sober me hates that. I hate it right now. But in the moment, I was like, I love this song. Like, you can probably hear me on the video saying I love this. And I'm dancing. Cause you also can't see because I'm dancing and holding it. And like singing to verbal songs. So basically, having a bad time. And I slid way too hard, way too aggressively. And I lose control of my phone. Phone cracks, but I also lose control of my legs. I fall, I land on my elbow, and I'm like, damn, that really hurt. And I check my phone, damn, I cracked the home button. I can't even use my phone anymore, but it's not fried, but I can't use it. And then everyone's like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, guys, I'm fine. I look at my elbow, and it is 100% separated. I split it open so far that it just looks disastrously bad. And I didn't even feel it at that point. So having a great night still. But then I decide I gotta cool it.
Bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, I'm bleeding out in the middle of Stereo Live. So then I decide, all right, guys, I'm probably gonna take it easy tonight. I'm just gonna go home, right? Then
Who are you talking to?
the club in general.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even make like close friends there. I was just like talking to everybody, like, all right, guys, I'm out. See ya. So I get my broken phone and broken elbow, and I left my shirt because I didn't need it.
Right.
And I left my shirt there, and then I realized I can't even call an Uber right now. I live 5 minutes from Stereo Live. I'm not gonna walk back at 2 a.m, but I decided, like, there's always Uber drivers outside. I'll just find one the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned way. I'm just gonna stick my thumb out and see who's an Uber driver, you know. So, because I mean, that's not unsafe at all.
No.
So, basically, I'm not wearing a shirt. I have an open elbow wound, and I'm sticking my thumb into cars, just trying to get it. This is where I was like, I hadn't realized yet how low this sounds, but it's pretty bad.
Right.
But it only got so much worse. I found a guy who was so nice enough to offer. He said, "Yeah, I'm not an Uber driver, but I'll totally give you a ride. I understand." And I said, "Dude, you're my hero. I love this. I'm going to get in this car right now. I don't even know who you are, where you're going, if you have a criminal record or anything." But I get in the car. He starts driving. I realize we're not going the direction of my apartment.
Oh, God.
And I'm thinking, well, is this weird? Like, should I have any questions? So I was like, "Hey, do you want me to, like, pay you at all?" He's like, "No, man, you don't have to pay me, but, like, can I blow you?" And I was like, "What?"
It was a guy?
It was a guy, yeah. It was just a creepy...
Can I?
Like, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Not
Gay
even...
guys always want to practice.
Not even, will you do it to
Well,
me?
me.
I was like, what kind of question is that? Like, no, thank you. I literally said I'm flattered, but I also was like, what do you mean you just pick up people outside of clubs, blow them, and then drive them places? Like, you're doing way too much work here. That's like 3 separate services.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, dude, yeah.
So...
What did he say to that?
He was just like, yeah, I gotta rethink things, I guess. But no, but then I started I didn't want to make him feel bad because he was driving me. But he's like, yeah, this is just what I do. And I was like, this is a regular thing for you.
Bro, who knows what he has then?
He drove farther away from my apartment than where we started, but I recognized a cross street from my friend's apartment. So I asked, can you drop me there? And he was just like, all right, well, do you want me to walk you to your door? Get the fuck out of here. He hadn't even stopped the car yet. I opened the car and just jumped out, sprinted full speed, had my phone in my pocket, and I just kept running. I made it all the way to the door. I don't even know how I got in contact with the friend, but I was able to let him know that I was coming. And I opened the door because he left it unlocked, and I said, I almost got raped! And that was not true. I didn't have really any danger whatsoever. No. And then he's like, what about your elbow? And I said, what about my elbow? Oh shit! And I still had no idea that
Did you bleed in the guy's car?
All over the guy's car. Because I wasn't wearing a shirt or anything.
He didn't say anything?
He never brought it up. Yeah. He was desperate.
He wanted to blow you that
He
bad.
wanted to blow an open wound guy with no shirt outside of a shitty nightclub. I hope he's doing okay.
I hope so.
Yeah.
He's probably got mouth herpes. There's just no way. Dude. Statistically showing he's got something.
Right. Just based on the venue that he was parked outside of.
Yes.
But so I get into my friend's place. I spend the night there. He let me crash on the couch, smoked it up, had a good night. I realized I have work at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Of course you do.
And it's the kind of job where you have to clock in from your phone. To where I literally can't do that. I can't see the address of where I'm going. I can't clock in. I can't call my boss. I can't do anything. So I just got on Google and I found out where I was going and I just made it to work. I went to work for like 5 hours doing manual labor. I lifted heavy boxes and I
felt like shit.
I helped. Oh yeah, I went to the bathroom immediately after and I threw up for like 25 minutes.
Oh, God.
But yeah, that was probably the point in time when I realized these really fun nights are amazing, but I still have a separated elbow. I never got it fixed. I mean, like it healed. It was separated. Now it's together. It looks bad. So that's.
I mean, how much does it hurt when you do stuff?
Well, you know how with coronavirus, everyone's elbow bumping people.
Right.
Every time it just hurts a little bit.
I mean, okay, but like doing bicep curls or a tricep.
No, it doesn't affect me functionally whatsoever.
Wow.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah, but when I met you, I told you that I slipped and I fell walking a dog.
Why would you lie to me?
Because I didn't know I was cool with you right off the bat, but I didn't know who you were yet.
Oh,
but we were touring the Amazon warehouse So I didn't want to just
Right.
be in front of everybody like, hey, I just got fucked up yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
Split my elbow open because a guy tried to blow me and I ran out of his car.
You're right. We weren't
Yeah.
sharing like that yet.
Yeah, but look how far we've come. Look at us.
Yeah, look at us, go.
right?
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
cheers,
sports,
man.
yeah.
All
Well,
right, man.
I had one for you and then I forgot it. It doesn't matter though.
Well, off the bat, you were mentioning movies before, right?
Yeah, but I really wanted to share that story with you.
Do you know the context or any category of story?
Yeah. No.
No.
Damn it, dude. It's
It happens often, it's memory lane is a weird place.
All right. What were we talking about?
Beforehand, we were just saying embarrassing stories.
Yeah, we were talking about you separated your elbow.
Separated my elbow, and then I had the embarrassing moment with the driver. I was at a rave, just drank a little bit too much there, but ultimately learned my lesson. Had a good time.
Yeah, you did. I can't remember.
No.
Doesn't matter. So anyway, the movies though.
Yeah.
Have you been consuming movies during the quarantine?
Yes. So actually, it's kind of funny, but right when the Oscars were coming around was when I just got super excited. I always do that. I download all the movies 100% illegally, and then most of the screeners, right?
Right.
And I try to watch them as rapidly as I can before the actual Oscar ceremony.
Okay.
But did you have any favorites from Oscar season generally? Because some of them weren't great.
No,
Some
not
of them
really.
were not good.
I was Knives Out even in Oscar?
It got nominated for a screenplay, I think adapted screenplay, or no, original screenplay, but it didn't win. So
Right.
there's a
Because
sequel in the works though.
Yeah, I don't know if I really am excited about that. But the original, I did love. That was probably one of my favorite movies of the year. I liked Ford Ferrari. I liked 1917. I never got to see. I still haven't seen Parasite, the Best Picture. I haven't seen.
I will say it caught a storm of people that are pretending to be film buffs,
Right.
and that it is a good movie. I'll give it that. Is it a good movie? I would not have selected it to win Best Picture, but the way the world is working is how woke can you be? It's about anti-rich people. It's about class warfare, and it's pretty creatively shot. Where they built a lot of sets, they built it, and the fact that it's a foreign language film really cemented its place. I think that if it was in English, hot take, it would not have won Best Picture.
Right. What do you think should have won Best Picture?
That's tough because this year there was not a movie where I said, "Wow, that's the best movie of the year." Other than Uncut Gems was one of my favorites.
Why was Uncut Gems so highly regarded?
Okay,
For you.
one, I'll just be frank. I used to work in a movie theater. I used to smoke in the parking lot every single day, and I would just go vibe out in that movie theater. And I had not done that for several years, and then I did that right before I saw Uncut Gems, and it brought me back to the cinematic gold that was just having a good time at the movies. You know?
Right, yeah.
That was such a cool experience because right off the bat, it throws you into like Western Africa and then mining for all these diamonds, and then it goes right into him. There was some weird psychedelic scene with the credits that was amazing, and just Adam Sandler as a character was just perfect. I loved the way he played.
It was great to see him doing good acting again. It was good to see him in a good movie and good acting. I just didn't love the movie, but I think it's because I had a bad cinematic experience.
Why is that?
Theater was super hot. Like I was sweating. Like I had swamp ass watching this movie.
That's a bad way to sit and watch. Yeah.
And I had a bad neighbor. And the movie was really loud.
Did you know the neighbor, or was it a random?
No, it was like so. I had my friend to the left of me, but the guy to the right of me, I had him in my peripheral the whole time.
I know
It
exactly
looked like
what you
he
mean.
was doing like weird stuff, and the person to the right of him was doing weird stuff, and they were having conversation. And in the middle of the movie, those two guys to the right of me stood up and looked at the people to the right of them, and they were like, "All right, see ya." Like in the middle of the movie, they're just like, "All right, bye."
Yeah.
And
Do
then,
people answer phone calls like, "Hey, what's up? I'm not busy."
yeah, but they like made a big deal about it. They're like, "All right, bye," and they like walked by us and left the movie. And I looked at my friend and I was like, "Does that mean it's bad?" Because I'm like, "I'm not loving it. I'll be honest."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how are you feeling? He goes, "That's good."
Yeah.
But
I
it
was
was-
entranced. I was literally
The
so
ominous
upset.
tones, like the music, like the score of the movie, was very unsettling.
Unsettling. Right. Okay.
Right.
The reason for that, I think, is that I've started doing more research on these guys, the Safdie brothers, Josh and Benny, I feel like are their names. But one of our coworkers turned me onto them, and they have another movie called Good Time, where it's basically panic-inducing, and sometimes that isn't for everyone. Uncut Gems definitely had really,
Elements of that.
Exactly, yeah. I was going to say it really turns some people off because some people go to the movies to unwind. Some people, it was very anxious. You didn't know what was going to happen the whole time. And I really felt like that every step of the way. I had no idea what was going to happen. And spoilers, when the bet goes well and he unlocks the people from that vault and shoots him in the face, like that was not what I expected whatsoever. And I've heard otherwise from other people. I thought it was a very, very well crafted movie. And one of the best non-comedic sports roles, basically, from Kevin Garnett.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good elements to the movie, but to me the reason why I didn't love it is I want to rewatch it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to rewatch it. But the reason why I probably didn't like it is the unsettling sounds and the fact that I was sweating.
That it really does affect.
Does.
I've been there to where you're having a bad physical experience.
Right.
Have you ever had somebody chew popcorn so ungodly loudly that you can't hear the movie?
No.
I don't know what this is. I'm so intricate about small sounds, mostly chewing noises, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If I'm watching a movie, I'm not even paying attention to the movie. I'm only hearing the person next to me.
Okay.
It ruined Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't even know what happened that whole movie. I'm serious. I saw it.
Was it a stranger?
It was my dad.
Oh, okay.
And I even elbowed him a couple times, and I felt like a total asshole. Because I'm trying to watch Harry Potter. God damn it, Dad!
Yeah.
And it's like I got so heated that I didn't even care what Voldemort was up to.
I understand.
Yeah.
Did you see A Quiet Place in theaters?
I saw it actually at home. Yeah.
Didn't see it in theaters.
I turned out all the lights. I made sure it was silent. That's the only way you can ensure you know how the movie-going experience will be. 10 times out of 10, I will pick the theater, though, in terms of how...
You wouldn't have liked the theater.
Really?
Because it's
not quiet?
No, because it was deathly quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But, if anybody did anything, you could hear it.
I've heard that.
So, if anybody had a snack, and you're saying what you just said, you wouldn't have been able to make it.
Yeah, people chewing ice. Why do they have the loudest foods in there? They've got popcorn, people chewing ice. It's just I got a beef. And I worked there for a year and a half.
Which one?
The Edwards Regal Plaza on Wesleyan there.
Nice.
It was a great time at that theater. It was the most popular theater, I think, in almost all of Houston. But my thing was, I worked there in high school. I told them I was a student. I only had to work maybe 1 or 2 days a week, but I got free tickets to every single movie. So I went probably 4 times a week, 3 or 4 times a week. Got unlimited popcorn, unlimited soda, and I gained 38 pounds.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
They
the
said
way.
bring whatever size bag you can, and I was about to bring a garbage bag. You imagine downing a garbage bag?
No, could not.
So what are some of the best movie experiences that you've ever seen? It doesn't have to be recent, but in the time of seeing it for the first time, it was just an epic movie-going experience.
Obviously, Endgame is the easy answer.
I actually did have a bad theater-going experience the first time for that.
Really?
The second time, I cried.
Why was the first time bad?
Talking to people, clappers. I
hate clappers.
I get the Captain America saved the day and then Iron Man cried.
Actually, I like clapping if it doesn't interrupt a line. Or I can tolerate it if it doesn't interrupt.
It's more like,
script.
oh my god, the superheroes are winning. It's we get it. This is what we're all here for. Yeah, exactly. So, Endgame still, the second time that I watched it, I brought a friend. The first time I was by myself. The second time I brought a friend. And we looked at each other in the eyes and we cried. But not at a sad scene. Just at the sheer epicness of the battle scene. Because it was 11 years in the making.
It was wild.
That's so impressive to me that actually culminated that beautifully.
Yep.
Right. And I understand where people come from if they're not fans of the Marvel Universe. If they're just saying, oh, it's just comic books, or there's no precursor to this. It's just 20 movies and then this. I mean, yeah, that's what we love. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Are you big into the Marvel Universe or not as much?
I mean, I've seen them all multiple times, yeah.
Yeah. I actually binged all of them consecutively before Black Panther. And, yeah, that was a pretty fun time.
Yeah,
but
no, it's good.
It took about a month.
So I've seen all of them multiple times, and I have probably all of Phase 1 and probably most of Phase 2 on Blu-ray or DVD. But then it's kind of the point now where obviously Blu-ray and DVD are so obsolete that I
never
stopped.
bought a Blu-ray. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I stopped buying them. So obviously the collection's going to stop. But I think I have all the way up to Age of Ultron. I have all 3 Iron Mans. I have Captain America 1 and 2, fucking Thor 1, 2. I don't have Ragnarok. 1 and 2 actually kind of suck in
They
comparison.
do, honestly.
Yeah.
There's very
Deadpool 1 and 2,
few. There's
they're
very
not
few misses within the MCU. Thor 2 is one of them.
Rest.
The Incredible Hulk is another one.
If you count it, yeah.
Oh no, that one
It
counts.
counts, yeah,
Hulk
but-
doesn't count. The first one, the 2003 one with
Rhino,
Eric.
yeah.
No, not Eric Bana. There were so many random ones. Edward Norton was not even a bad Hulk, but Mark Ruffalo just knocks out the park.
Knocks it out.
Do you think they could make a new Hulk movie? It won't be for the foreseeable future. You think they could have a standalone Hulk movie?
To me, yes. I just don't know enough about the Hulk's villains because me and normal host of this show, Reagan, always debate about like carbon copies of villains.
Mhm.
We don't really like that.
They do have a villain problem in the MCU. They really
Yeah.
just can't formulate a
Creative
reason.
villains.
Exactly, a reasoning for why they want to destroy the universe or any real legitimate backstory that's not they interacted with Iron Man or they lost their job or they lost their wife or something like that.
Yeah.
Thanos was the only villain that really made me believe him and also kind of like agree with him at times, honestly.
Right.
Because it seems like, and this is really woke with the coronavirus right now, sometimes shrinking the world by a certain amount of size can do good,
Yeah.
but doing it in a genocide style snap doesn't necessarily do the trick.
Right.
So, also, why didn't he just double the resources? If you already have this many people in the world or the universe, why not just double the amount of things that we can eat?
Maybe he has no, because they make up the rules as they go. So maybe he can't do that, but he can kill people.
Mm-hmm.
It's
They
like-
did pretty much not steal it, but copy the story directly from the Infinity Gauntlet saga. And I really like. I'm not a comic book guy. I just really, really love the movies. But what do you think about the franchise going forward with Avengers not without Captain America, now without Iron Man, and presumably Thor's maybe got a movie left, and that's about it.
Right.
But have you heard of the new movies that are coming out?
Okay, so I still got to finish your whole question.
Oh, go for it. That was a loaded 7 questions.
And so I think in the Hulk movie, he basically fights himself. Just same in Iron Man 1, where Iron Man fights Jeff Bridges, who's another Iron Man. So, like, it gets kind of frustrating, the carbon copy of villain, like, where you're fighting, the good guy's fighting somebody who's equally the same as him, so there basically just comes down to a punching and kicking contest. So I think Hulk could have a good standalone movie. He just has to have the right villain, and he's probably going to have help. Exactly the same way they did with Thor 3. Thor needed help, so they gave him Hulk, they gave him some stuff. But they didn't give it, like, the whole... Because to me, Civil War is too much.
There's a lot of characters.
Just,
yeah.
yeah.
And then they're fighting each other. That was the only part I didn't buy, right?
And it's basically an Avengers movie at that point. But Ragnarok, to me, was more tasteful because they didn't overload it. They threw in Scarlett Johansson a little bit, mostly the Hulk, Thor, whatever. Anyway, now back to your other question. What was the other question?
The future going forward.
The future going
without
forward.
the two mainstays.
My biggest problem with these, I get it, dude. Actors and money and all that shit, people got to move on. I get it. And honestly, they're comic book characters. And even in the comic books, you have all these different voices and people. And, like, sometimes Tony Parker's old. Or Tony Parker, fucking...
Tony Parker.
Peter Parker.
I know.
Yeah, Peter Parker.
He's on the Charlotte Hornets this year.
Sometimes he's old, sometimes he's Miles, so sometimes he's black, and it's like it doesn't matter. And like they can do like whatever, like the Fantastic Four when it was Michael B. Jordan and previously it was Chris Evans for Flame On. So I don't really care about that. What I do care about is the fact that they're doing more TV shows versus movies, because I'm just not a big TV show guy. I'd rather them keep making movies.
I've never actually gone out of my way to watch more than 3 episodes of a show from the Marvel Universe, and I feel like they don't even care enough to really incorporate them in. It's not like there's been a storyline from Agent Carter that made it into Ultron, but
if it did, it was super minor.
But with that being said, the shows are really setting the stage for the new future, because it seems like they've got WandaVision, which is Scarlet Witch with Vision, who's now alive again somehow. They've got Loki has his own TV show. I'm really gonna like that. They've got
You are gonna like that?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean I love Tom Hiddleston as the
He is
character.
gonna play Loki.
Yeah,
in the show.
no, he's remember in Endgame where he found the second Loki found the cube and then just kind of dipped and everyone was like, where'd he go? He's to a new TV show apparently, but because he's able to basically go through time and space just like they just did in the Endgame. But the one I'm most excited for is called What If, and it's not going to be for about 2-3 years, I think, but it's going to be endless possibilities in terms of what could happen with both intergalactic species and different kinds of characters coming into different realities, but also the multiverse. I love the idea of the multiverse because my favorite character is Doctor Strange.
Of course.
I love Doctor Strange, man.
He's good.
He's crazy.
He is.
He got snubbed from Endgame. He's the best one. He was hardly in it.
Yeah, but I mean that's because Benedict Cumberbatch has such a crazy schedule. I mean he's
in everything. He was in 1917.
Yeah.
He was at one point he was Smaug from The Hobbit.
Oh, never saw it.
Oh, that's a great series, but that's actually not. But it's.
I was gonna say I heard the Hobbits weren't that good.
They were good, but they were no Lord of the Rings, and that's
Right.
what kind of threw them off.
People.
Right. But no, there's a lot of really, really good things moving forward. The one idea I like that you just mentioned, Miles Morales from Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like that one, by the way?
Loved it.
Right. What they're going.
That was one of our movie of the year candidates that year that it came out.
I loved it. I had an amazing time watching it. And why I bring it up is, like you said, there's Tobey Maguire. There is Andrew Garfield, my least favorite, and then now the best, I believe, is Tom Holland.
Yep.
Now that they had all those contractual obligations with Tom Holland might be leaving the MCU or Sony might be reacquiring Spider-Man, they fixed all that, but they're also similarly introducing Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, where I think they could hypothetically have all three Spider-Man actors in an Into the Spider-Verse situation.
Yes.
With a multiverse where they all come to meet at the same time.
That would be... Honestly, I just got a huge bonus.
Yeah, I shit my
because
pants.
Spider-Man's my favorite,
Yeah,
and Doctor Strange is probably like in the top 3 to 5.
Okay.
So that makes me really hard if they would do that. Especially if they brought back Tobey Maguire, dude. I would be such a fangirl.
You know,
I don't care if they bring back Andrew Garfield. Keep Tom Holland. You said they fixed it, as in Marvel does get to keep Spider-Man
yes,
now?
they saw that so quickly. It was not a publicity stunt by any means. Sony was trying to get a larger portion of the proceeds from the MCU. Because they came up with, or not necessarily they came up with Spider-Man, but they owned the rights to him and they had a 2-picture deal, something like that. And then they said, all right, well, he's our guy. We're going to keep him now. So they basically figured it out. And Tom Holland was a big reason as to why he's still in the MCU.
Okay.
He's such a cool guy, honestly.
He's
like our age.
He's doing a lot, too.
Yeah, he was just in some Pixar movie, too.
He's been in multiple animated movies between Spider-Man movies, and I think he's done some other stuff, too.
Yeah, he was in a movie that got nominated for an Oscar when he was like 14, too.
Well, he's a good Spider-Man, and I'm glad that Marvel gets to keep him, but me and Reagan were just actually talking the other day how, I don't know, Spider-Man kind of feels plagued by Iron Man in the or MCU, with, you know, the fact that his suits and his villains are basically all from Iron Man.
Yes, and they did need him to be reintegrated into the MCU in terms of he's a father figure. He's basically, I loved Spider-Man Not Far From Home, but it was the first one, Homecoming. It was so well crafted because it's literally like they didn't have to tell the same story of how Uncle Ben got shot, and they don't have to say the same origin story. You know that, so they jump right into it. And they had the new father figure of Iron Man, who's never had a kid until Endgame, and it just seems like the perfect fit. It really was a perfect fit.
It was a good fit.
And I like that moving forward. It's going to be interesting to see how they take away from that. Because even in Homecoming, Far From Home, they referenced Iron Man quite a bit.
They did.
Right.
And it got a little exhausting, and the villain was directly from Iron Man, because Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio, was fueled by Tony Stark. He hated Tony Stark, and he wanted to fuck him over, basically, because Stark took credit for his work / shit on it, and that was his motivation. So it really has nothing to do with Peter, except for the fact that he gets the tech from Tony after Tony dies. And so it's kind of... But... I was going to say something else. Fuck, dude. I always forget.
Well, basically, they don't have a good ability to create storylines for villains. They're placing a lot of that storyline backdrop on the characters themselves, because it's not just a punching contest. Like when I saw Incredible Hulk the first time, that's literally a punching contest. Neither one of them even had like lines. They're just punching each other.
Superman movies are plagued by that, too.
I hate Superman movies, and I do like the character as a whole. It's just not... Man of Steel, one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Batman vs. Superman, terrible movie.
Oh, Man of Steel to me is way better than Batman vs. Superman.
Oh, yeah, no, it's much better, much better.
Okay.
It's just going into it. That was the first movie I saw for free at the movie theater when I got tickets.
Man of Steel.
And it was
pretty
so
hyped.
disappointing.
It was hyped, too.
Yeah. But
BVS was probably the most hyped movie I've ever heard about, and it was the worst.
Okay, so when you see the movie and how you watch it does tell a lot about the story of how good it is. I did watch that on a recorded cam in my room,
That's
and
terrible.
but it was worth not caring about. because movies like that and Suicide Squad and some other
Yes!
ones, they're really not...
Ding, 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 ding. That's our number one topic here on the Decent Show is how much I hate Suicide Squad.
Right, and I felt bad because I actually got like 6 friends together. We all watched it. I was like, guys, it's been on my computer. We're going to watch it. And then halfway through, we're like, dude, what are we doing here? We gave up a whole night for this.
I went with 6 friends to the theater.
Oh, that's even worse, yeah.
And, like, I was with one of my friends, and, I mean, it doesn't matter, but... I don't know. He's black, okay? And he speaks his mind.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah, but like he was the one black guy in attendance of that group of friends, and I guess everybody else was liking it, but me and him were like not having it. He looks at me and he goes, "Is it just me or is this movie fucking awful?" And I go, "Yeah, dude, this is terrible. I thought I was the only one thinking." He goes, "No, I hate this." He goes, "Why do white people like this?" I was like, "I'm white, dude. I don't like this." He goes, "Okay, good." But like there was a row in front of us. They were the clappers. They were the laughers. Like every little joke, even if it wasn't nothing, nobody laughed. But just one row was like the whole time.
Yeah, it's like you're an aggressive fan. It seems like there's no reason. I get if you enjoy a movie, that's perfect. You're in the theater. You paid to be here. That's just as much as your right as it is mine. But just control your body and make sure that you're not ruining other people's. I get if you have a crying baby, it's not your fault. You just take it outside.
Yeah.
If you're, I mean, obviously I care way too much about the food thing, but some people just talk like there's no big deal. And I had a guy answer 2 phone calls, and he also, you know how they say, please turn off your phone. This guy just literally had it full volume, answered the full volume phone call. Yeah, totally, man. What's going on? No, I'm free. And it's like you ruined the whole thing for everyone. It's really frustrating, and it's kind of funny because I didn't get very far, but I used to be a film major. I really wanted to make movies, and I know that the first time that people watch the movie after you've put it out is so important. So those midnight premieres really mean a big deal, not just box office, but like standards of how good the movie lives up. Mm-hmm. So if people ruined it for you, or even they didn't pay attention because they're on their phones, frustrating as all hell.
It is.
Yeah, but I was more video. So you started out in radio, you said, in college?
I did broadcasting, electronic media, so I did like radio, video, audio, all that bullshit. Right. Sports, like we did a little bit of everything, and it's kind of like what you wanted it to be. Like you could get specific, and I kind of did more specifically radio and sports, which was a mistake. Definitely should have done more video, because that's what everyone does. That's what everyone watches. No one listens to the radio, so that was definitely a mistake.
You'd be surprised. There's a large group of people that listen to the radio, but they're all boomers. They're all people who drive into their office jobs and 45-minute, 7 a.m. traffic.
It's my parents, yeah. Oh, I know.
No, and I think that radio is a cool concept, but it's just podcasts. Podcasts have taken over, not just to shamelessly plug ourselves, but it really seems like that's just the new wave. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting to see how kind of media changes over time, really. I think that's such a fascinating concept where people used to read books, and now basically people just read tweets, and people read short posts or blog articles, whatever. I'll totally admit that I'm the same way, but do you think that it's hurting our attention span as a people?
Oh, yes. You can't keep anybody's attention.
Right. So what do you think the future is with all that?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of getting to the point to where if you play the game, you can get people to watch you. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, how much they watch you or what capacity, but I mean, we get viewers and we don't even promote the show. It's like, who are these people? Why are they listening to us?
I wonder, how sometimes you can see if they click on it and if they watch it and if they leave. Sometimes if you look at the analytics.
Yeah.
I want to know specifically what point in different episodes they quit. Right. I want to know what made them. They decided on a whim, I'm going to listen to this random podcast, these people I don't know, and then this is the one line that just made them quit. Yeah.
I mean, if you listen to our channel, we're plagued by that probably because we'll post reviews to like popular movies that are in theaters. Mm-hmm. But for the first like 20 to 30 minutes of that episode, we're just bullshitting, or we're not talking about the movie at all. Mm-hmm. We're doing like catch-up stuff, like, hey, like what you've been up to type stuff.
Right.
And then we talk about the movie. So a lot of times people aren't going to sit through 20, 30 minutes of you not talking about the movie.
Yeah. No, sometimes I'll have like a plan. I'll know what I'm going to talk about, and I get easily distracted, so easily distracted. Especially when there's another person in the room. There's so many things you could talk about. But no, only my least favorite thing in the world is when things are going really, really well for 30 plus minutes and you're recording and you don't have the best editing software necessarily, and you ruin it in some slight way and you don't even know if it's postable anymore.
Yeah. luckily we just posted anyway,
Yeah.
so we'll be fine. No whatever happens here. You were talking about your best experiences in the theater. I mean, what were some of your other best ones aside from like Avengers?
Okay, so I actually didn't get big into the MCU until that first Avengers movie in 2012.
Right.
So from that 2012-2014 range is when I saw, God, like 50, 60 movies a year. I was seeing so many. And there are a couple that, honestly, a lot of them were bad movies that I had a great time at. Because I've since stopped watching as many bad movies.
Right.
If you're getting baked and just watching a movie in the parking lot, or getting baked in the parking lot and then going to watch the movie. I saw Pacific Rim, and that was one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. Because I
The
know,
first one, though.
Yeah, I didn't see the second.
Awful.
Yeah, I know that. I
Awful.
knew that. Yeah. But Pacific Rim, I remember that was just a incredible experience. There was one movie that I saw that was a kung fu movie in Chinese that it was called The Grandmaster. And I kid you not, my eyes were so squinty that I couldn't see that there were subtitles on the screen.
It's ironic that your eyes are squinty in that movie.
Well timed. But I basically didn't see any like words on the screen the whole time, and I was just like, "Is this an artistic choice? Like, do they just not want me to know what's happening?" It's clearly in some. I didn't even know that it was Chinese. It could be Japanese. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was just like, "Wow, this is really mysterious. I don't know what to make of this." And at one point, I just got up and went downstairs in the movie theater just to go get more popcorn and take a breather. Like, I guess, study up on my Chinese literature. I don't know what to do here. But I remember just those moments where you laugh so hard and it's not a comedy and you're just having such a good time. Yeah, that was one of my most memorable. And then I got into a low-key like sparring match in the parking lot after. Like with a friend, not with a person.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't just challenge someone.
Okay. You're like, hey man, I just watched Grandmaster.
Yeah, let's get it on
Let's
right
go.
now. Yeah.
Oh man.
What about you?
I
Any
got
come to
two.
mind?
Yeah, you reminded me of two. You reminded me of a good one, like a positive movie where I had a positive reaction, and a bad movie that I enjoyed. Both in theater.
Okay.
First one was Force Awakens.
Okay.
I feel like there was a lot of hype behind, like whenever there's so much hype behind a movie, for me personally and for a lot of people in general, it has a hard time living up to that. I mean, that's why I hated BVS so much, Suicide Squad. Like, both those movies, honestly, are still better than maybe your average movie, but in comparison to expectations, they're ass. They're terrible. And so, Force Awakens, when that came out, dude, like, there was so many expectations behind that movie.
I liked it the first time around. I haven't seen it since.
When I saw it in theaters, I loved it. Well, go back and watch it, dude. It's honestly, arguably, the best in the new trilogy.
I think so, too. Even just from the first view.
Oh, okay, good. So there you go. So anyway, saw that movie in theaters, had a great time, loved it, really enjoyed myself. And that movie, there was a lot of applause, a lot of oh, and then when
That's a
Han
big
Solo
nostalgia.
gets killed, they were like, oh, you know, everybody was freaking out.
My dad was like, they killed my hero right in front of me.
Apparently, like, what's his name, Harrison Ford.
Yep.
I'm like in that state where I can't remember anybody's name
Right.
right now. I'm having a hard time.
Right.
Because I said Tony Parker earlier. Peter
It's
Parker.
okay. Harrison Ford's right.
You know, honestly, I feel like Reagan should roast me for that because he knows Spider-Man's my favorite hero, and I just called him Tony Parker.
It's okay. We just had a basketball podcast right before.
You're right.
I'll give you a pass for that
Boom,
one.
thank you. So Peter
Right.
Parker. Anyway, I don't even remember what I was talking about now.
The Force Awakens.
There you go.
Yeah.
But Harrison Ford, he was done. He hated being Han Solo.
Really?
He was tired of it.
That's so hard to believe.
From what I hear.
That's how he made his career.
Right. And he's still making Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah. No, that's garbage. The last one was, what was the good?
Shia
LaBeouf. I'm not a fan.
No.
So, fan of him. I love the guy.
Did you watch Honey Boy?
No, I heard it was what's Honey Boy? There's another one called Peanut Butter Falcon, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen either one.
Okay, me neither. I need to watch both of them.
Right.
Anyway, the movie that stunk that I had a good time was I don't really watch horror movies at all,
Neither.
and I was dating a girl at the time, so I had to go see every horror movie that she wanted to see, and she wanted to see this movie called Truth or Dare, and it came out a few years ago. I think it was made by Blumhouse.
Okay.
Anyway. It wasn't that scary, so I was able to watch the movie comfortably, and it was like a fascinating premise, but like it was just bad acting. Like it was just a bad movie.
That's often.
But the premise was actually pretty interesting to where like these people get stuck in a cursed game of Truth or Dare, like on spring break in Cancun, and the game works to where it's haunted by this ghost or whoever or whatever. dude, is Tito gonna be okay, dude? Like, do you have like peanut butter on your hand?
No, I'm just a generally, like I said, I'm generally purse-fed person.
So he's just like eating that salsa.
He's licking it up, yeah.
Yeah, I have sweaty hands too, so that's probably why he was licking my hands.
Yeah, I know, he's a big licker. That's why earlier, this was not on the pod, but I had a leasing professional ask me if I've ever licked my dog. And I didn't know how to react because of course I haven't. My dog licks me, he's licking me right now. And I don't want to reciprocate that because I'm not a creepy person.
But what if it like freaked him the fuck out and he stopped licking you? Wouldn't that be wild?
Well, you're supposed to, if a dog bites you, you're supposed to bite it back. But I don't like that either.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
I don't resort to dog behavior.
I normally spank. I don't know why I spank my dog.
Well, this dog is 13 pounds. If I spanked him, he might die. I'm afraid to do so. Yeah. So I've generally disciplined him, but I can't. I'm afraid to. He's already pretty
so
tiny.
tiny.
He's so tiny. Yeah, I finger tap him. But the last
Truth, yeah. So Truth or Dare, they get stuck in a cursed game of Truth or Dare, and it's haunted by whatever. And whenever it's your turn, like you have to pick Truth or Dare, and you have to do it.
Okay.
Like if you don't do it, you die.
Okay.
Like so, and I think after so many truths, the game makes you do a dare. Okay. Because at some point the kids are like, well, just pick truth. And finally it's like, no.
This seems like a fake movie. Like, I believe that it's real.
Right.
That's insane.
And they're like, no, dare. And they're like, okay, what is it? And he's like, and like the dare,
Kill
the
yourself.
truths and the dares basically tear the group apart.
Okay.
Like the game is meant to fuck with you psychologically.
Okay.
So they're like, truth. And they go, okay, truth then. And it'll like, one of the girls will be forced to send a text to her other friend going, hey, like I fucked your boyfriend a year ago when y'all were dating. And she doesn't want to send it, but if she doesn't, she dies.
Okay. Like,
right.
Is someone killing them or does she just die?
Like the game or the ghost, the curse, whatever it is, kills them.
Sure.
And normally it's graphic because I think a few people die and they get like fucked up.
Okay.
And so there's like one guy, he's doing a dare and he's at a bar. And it's like, I dare you to like take your shirt off and stand on the pool table. He's like, yeah, no problem. And then it's like, somehow the dare progresses to like something with his dick. And he's like, oh no, like I'm not going to do it. And it's like, you have to.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not going to do it. And it's like, okay. Final answer, he goes, yeah, like my crush is here. And he's like, okay. And he like, the curse takes over his body, makes him jump off the pool table and slam his neck into another pool table and kill himself.
Oh my god.
So it's like super graphic, yeah. And so like, again, that premise is interesting because the game tears up the circle of friends. They try to go to the original person who got cursed to get out of the game, figure out how to stop it. And like, they have to keep playing it, otherwise the game kills them. So like, it kind of kept me interested, but like it was pretty cheesy.
That sounds like a more fun version of, I don't know if you heard of One Missed Call, but it was infamously one of the worst horror movies of the 2000s, where almost the exact same thing, people just keep getting calls from this one ghost murder villain person, and you have to answer the phone. It's like...
They make fun of that in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, how about you just don't answer the phone? Yeah, because it's not like...
Take the battery out.
Yeah, or just like throw it away. Like, what if you just went without a phone for a day, you know? But everyone kept answering your phone and then dying. Or I think if they answered the phone, eventually they died. It wasn't immediate. But it was just such a bad movie. I remember that's where I decided I just don't like horror movies. Like in that movie, I think I was probably 10 or 11 years old. And I just don't like horror movies.
Don't.
There are good ones, like A Quiet Place, if that counts. Yeah, I guess.
If it counts, it was good.
That was pretty good. And
wanted to see the second one, but I think it's on delay because of Corona.
Which one?
Second one.
Oh, right. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that's a new interesting trend of movies that potentially might go straight to streaming. I know that Netflix has kind of taken over that industry and basically made it to where you can do that and you make just as much money because more people watch that way.
But I think a lot of them are going to video on demand to where like you have to pay to watch them.
Individual movies, not just the services they're streaming on. Like basically the equivalent of iTunes. Like you have to pay for an individual iTunes movie.
Right.
Damn. I don't think
like they might put it on Amazon, but you have to pay for it on Amazon. And I think they're going to put Onward on Disney Plus eventually. If you're paying for Disney Plus, that'll work for you. But like the other ones, they're not putting them like on Netflix. I think they're putting them just like on whatever a video on demand
once
service
they're out
is.
there on the internet, they're basically up for grabs.
Right.
You're
never waiting for somebody to.
Not to give away all my secrets, but since 2011, I have not paid for a song, movie, TV show, any form of media. I just haven't paid.
Dude, fuck you, man.
No, I actually no. That's a lie. I pay for a VPN, a verified private network, and that's decently priced because It's basically the cost for a year is about the monthly cost combined of Spotify and Apple Music and Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and everything. There's too many streaming services. It's so much more complex than cable now. I had cable for one day. I canceled it because fuck that.
Yeah.
And then now I just have everything on my computer.
Right.
And you can literally just plug your computer into your TV and it's just like cable.
Right.
So, and now that, here's a deep thought here. Let's say coronavirus expands drastically.
Right.
Takes out the internet. Okay, people working the internet. AT&T is already not answering phone calls. We don't know why, but they're already a terrible company. So
they're not answering.
Yeah, if you call them, it's just dial tone right now. So my friend just moved like 2 days ago. Couldn't get a hold of them, so now she doesn't have internet. So basically, what I'm saying is, what if this becomes a humongous outbreak of just like it's spreading from person to person in terms of the virus? What if this happens in terms of internet capabilities? You're losing internet worldwide. People working from home and you can't access in certain ways, not just in the lifestyle, like what are we going to do without the internet, but what could you possibly do to survive if the whole world was out of internet?
That would be wild. The only thing I can say is, luckily, my parents are old, and I'm also like behind. You know what I mean? I'm definitely not up to date. I don't know shit about VPNs. I'm a sucker and pay for pretty much everything. I have way too many DVDs in our house. But if we had no internet, I would have plenty of entertainment thanks to the massive collection of books that my mom has and DVDs that I have.
Well, what I've done is I have a hard drive, a 2 terabyte hard drive. So I downloaded every TV show that I would ever rewatch. Things like Arrested Development, Breaking Bad,
God, such a good
Curb
show.
Your
Arrested
Enthusiasm.
Development, great show, too.
I don't know if you watch Impractical Jokers, but that's just my guilty
I love
pleasure.
it, yes.
I actually watched the movie in theaters.
How was it?
So bad, and I loved it.
Like, why was it bad?
Okay, you ever watch the 5-second intros? They're like, hey, we're here at the park. They're not funny. Like, they're not funny in that way, but they're hilarious once they're actually doing the skits. This is a whole movie of them not being funny with the skits. So the skits are awesome. There's one point where they interview for the Atlanta Hawks, and it was the most ridiculous interview you've ever seen in your entire life. And it was just so perfectly done. But they go from city to city, every city from New York to Miami, I believe. They hit every major city and then just do pranks on people there. It was perfectly made in terms of the skits. The movie itself was like, Paula Abdul has a grief against them dating back to the 80s, and they have to go get revenge on Paula Abdul, but then she forgets who they are, so they have to like get tickets to her concert, and then they make it to her concert, and they realize they were friends the whole time. There's like a story. There's a story in the movie, and it's bad. It's real bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
But still one of my favorite shows.
Yes.
Alphabetically right after, I was just going to say, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is probably my favorite show.
Yep,
That's my 3 favorites. If I have to narrow them down that quickly, ooh, that's actually tough. I have to go 4. 4 favorites.
Just give me your top 5.
5. Yeah, I might as well go to 5.
Yeah, let's go 5.
Okay, because that 5 spot's up for grabs too. So
Okay, so this top 5 TV shows fit spot up for grabs.
right. So it's Breaking Bad.
Is this in a particular order?
I'll go 1 drama.
No, I'm
3
saying,
comedies.
Are you ranking them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or is it no?
I
particular
can't compare the drama to the comedies. So I'll just
say your 5 favorites.
So Breaking Bad is the only drama. Then I'll say The Office, because I'm a basic bitch.
Yes.
Curb Your Enthusiasm has recently skyrocketed. Okay, that's also my Instagram name if you want to look it up.
Why is it recently skyrocketed for you?
Because it's been off the air for so many years, back and forth. Like Did
you watch it back then?
Yeah, I've always watched it. There was 8 seasons that were on the first time that I watched it. Then a 9th season came back in 2017. But there was literally from 2011 to 2017 to now. It's still, the season finale was last night. So it's literally just so random. He does it at his own leisure when he wants to.
It was last night?
Yeah. The
season finale?
Yeah.
Of season 10?
Yeah, it was pretty epic. He had a whole Spite store. It was just amazing. So
okay. I need to watch. I think I've seen the first 9. I think I need to just see 10 then.
9's pretty good. It's basically he goes to a coffee shop, and he has such a bad experience. The tables are wobbly, the coffee's cold, the scones are dry, and he's just got everyth's wrong with his coffee shop.
This is 9 or 10?
This is 10. This is the
Okay.
first episode of 10.
10, okay.
So then he starts beefing with the owner. His name is Mocha Joe, and he's just like, "Hey, Mocha Joe, what's up with the wobbly tables? And this coffee's cold and everything." Then he gets banned from the coffee shop for complaining about too many things in a row. So he buys the property next door and then just opens a rival coffee shop over the course of the whole season, and just out of spite. He calls it a spite store. So literally the whole season is him planning a business. He's like, damn it, I really got too committed to this. I have to like hire people and learn how coffee shops operate and then outprice my neighbor who's like 10 feet to the left. And it's amazing storyline development. There's also a lot of Me Too storylines going on, like sexual harassment.
Of course.
Yeah.
I figured he would touch on that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But so that's pretty far up on my list for sure. And Larry David that's 3, right?
That's 3, yeah.
It's Always Sunny.
Wait, Larry David is what?
One of the best comedic geniuses I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, sir.
He's just from Seinfeld to now, he's just done it all right.
Genius.
So Breaking Bad, Office, Curb,
Sunny.
and It's Always Sunny. That's where it gets super tough for me, honestly, because I love.
Most of these are comedies.
I'm a big comedy guy.
So where do those comedies rank? Are those ranked in order?
I might have to go The Office, It's Always Sunny, Curb. Wow. That's so hard. That's like the hardest 3 I could ever rank, honestly. But
I've seen all 3 of those shows.
In terms of my priorities, like what I would watch now, those are probably reverse order. But from a historical standpoint, The Office is like my all-time favorite show. I actually applied. I don't know if you saw, but they had something like, watch 400 hours of The Office over this much time, and we'll give you $1,500. And I applied, and I actually was very close. I didn't get it. So
why didn't you get it?
I don't know. I was like, yeah, I've watched every episode, and I condensed it down to 35 minutes, and I put it online. It went viral, and I literally would do it again. And they're like, no, you're not qualified. So, like, I think that's the exact qualifications. It's just being a fan. But
well, you're not qualified because maybe you've already created content about it. Maybe they want somebody who
NBC did reach out to me and said I copyright infringed them multiple times.
Right.
But that's the thing I don't get about copyright infringement. If we put on a song right now and then we gave credit to the artist, shouldn't that be enough? We're promoting them and we're giving them the rights.
Right.
We're not saying, oh, this is my song that I created.
I don't know.
I don't get copyright law on it.
I studied it and I still don't get it.
Right.
But okay, so what's the 5th?
That's where I'm super tough between Impractical Jokers. I've watched almost more than any show, but it's hard to put that in the same stratosphere as those other shows.
Right.
Louis is one of my favorite shows ever.
Really?
I love Louis C.K. and it's one of the most.
And that show's good. I've never seen it.
Oh my god, yeah! It's so not similar to his stand-up comedy. He's the exact opposite person from his stand-up on the show.
Wow, is that good?
Yeah, it's so crazy to think, because he does stand-up comedy on the show. It's like Seinfeld, but like nega Seinfeld, if that makes sense. Anti-Seinfeld. He's basically a character of himself that's like much more reserved and quiet and doesn't like people, and
that's how he is.
Yeah, that's how he is as a person. But on his stand-up, he's hilarious, bombastic, making awful, crude points. Like he's one of the more out there comedians that, obviously, today's day and age, we can't really say we're fans of his anymore. But still, my favorite comedian. Right. And it also sucks to say my favorite actor used to be Kevin Spacey. So I
used to like Kevin Spacey too.
Right, but then it gets complicated. You throw in Rick and Morty. Or Man Seeking Woman's a good show. Nathan For You's a good show. I used to say Arrested Development was on that list.
I love Arrested Development, yeah.
I don't know. Workaholics? Do you like Workaholics?
Yeah, no, I never got into that one.
I
tried it, I couldn't. It was too trendy for me.
I get that. But if it's shows that I've watched more than anything, I have to put in Practical Jokers. And as a film person, that kind of hurts me to say that's one of my 5 favorite shows.
Hey, man,
They perfected their craft.
You gotta respect the hustle.
Right. I am so impressed that they're like 8 episodes in, or 8 seasons in. That's amazing. They hit 200 episodes.
Oh man, I figured there'd be. Oh, okay. Well, 200 episodes is a lot. I figured there'd be more than 8 seasons. But
they basically have a point to where they'll make 20 episodes, call it a half season, and then just come out with even more. So they've got like 35 episodes a season.
Jesus, yeah, that's pretty well.
Yeah, but it doesn't even get old. That's the thing. They've rehashed everything. They've kept going, but one of the most brilliant shows ever. And I've actually. This isn't like full story mode or anything, but I've attempted to recreate Impractical Jokers in real life. It's very difficult.
Oh, so tried doing it?
Gave someone a camera and then followed me around, and I just tried to do dumb shit on dares.
Right.
And it was.
But did you try to do like the exact same thing?
No.
Did?
Like I had people just dare me to do things on the spot, and I did them. I never turned any of them down, but the results weren't always what you wanted.
Weren't always what you wanted?
They're never what you... I mean, you basically... There was one where I had to go ask someone in public for a pen, and they always gave me a pen, and I just had to just walk away and not even use it, and just like, I got their pen. And like that's kind of funny. So then I tried to amp it up, and I got their pen, and I just chunked it across the room. Like that's from Impractical Jokers, much funnier. But another one.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did all of it. Yeah.
Did it work?
Yeah, I mean they were pretty upset, and I had to be like, "I'm sorry, it's for a prank show." That's the thing is you can't reveal it. That there's very seldomly a time where they actually tell them they're on the show.
Right.
But there was another one
when
where
do they tell them?
They've only done it like 3 or 4 times ever.
They've only told
on
somebody?
camera. Like almost always, they have to get a release form to show their face.
I know that. So that's what I'm saying. When do they tell them after the fact?
Usually off camera after. I mean, a lot of times if they just leave, there's nothing they can do. Like they probably have to blur them out. But then I tried falling asleep on people in public. That was pretty funny. Most people were actually pretty cool with it. They're like, he's pretty tired. He could use a nap. But the one thing that was really difficult was standing outside of a bathroom and trying to high five as many people as possible. Nobody was down for that, especially in these coronavirus times. Now looking back, it's pretty cringy. Yeah. That's like literally the spread. It's probably where it started.
Yeah, but it's whatever.
My crowning achievement, though, I can't remember the specifics, but I stood outside. I was in the Alamo Dome. That's the San Antonio main football arena, and I just went up to this random woman, and my friend said, "Convince her that you know her in some way." And it's like a 60-year-old woman, right? How could I possibly convince this? Because she knows who people are. And I said, "Hey, is your last name like?" And then she's like, "Williams," and I was like, "William?" Yeah, I was just like, Williams, yeah. And then I said, "So did you know my?" "No, you didn't know my dad then, did you?" And she's like, "Who was it?" And I said, like, "Oh, he used to be in the military." And then she's like, Was it Jonathan? I was like, what? I had this most elaborate reaction. I felt like I was also like so drunk when I was doing this. So, yeah, but I basically convinced her who I was, who my dad was, that they knew each other, and I got her in camera to like give a shout out to my dad. And I was like, "It's for a project. Just tell him like how you remember him and what you remember about him." And she's like, "He was very always polite and so sincere, and he was just like the sweetest guy. And that military training really paid off. And he's a total sweetheart. I love you, Jonathan." And I was like, "Thanks, so nice to meet you." And it just walked off, and I was like, "Wow." But the sad part was the guy filming me. I actually never got the footage.
Why?
It was a random person. I asked a random person to start filming me.
With your camera?
No, just his camera that he had.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand.
No part of that made sense.
How long did you do it?
For like an hour and a half.
For one day?
Yeah.
Like you only did it once, one day?
Well, the other times were off camera, just for fun.
Okay.
This was the only filmed part.
Right.
So that was super difficult, because I got his phone number. I was like, "Hey, send me the footage." He's like, I don't have any. I don't know what happened. We were all drunk. It was at a football game, so everyone was drunk. Yeah. Same day, I'll leave it at this, but same day, I went on a date with a 37-year-old.
Why are you living my life?
Dude, I went to a cowboy dance hall.
Yeah.
And I realized I'm not this person.
Of course.
But I knew that going in. I had to go buy a hat before I went in.
Oh, God.
And yeah, I learned I'm not a good two-stepper.
No.
And I made some major life choices that day, and didn't go well.
What were your major life choices?
To stop doing stupid shit like that. Just like,
how did you get involved with a 37-year-old?
She hit on me outside of the football game. She asked if I was cold, and it was her motherly instincts that kicked in. And
was she a mom?
Yeah.
I mean, just because she's 37 doesn't mean she's a mom.
She told me.
Oh,
I have her on Snapchat. She posts him a lot.
Okay.
She still reaches out quite often.
For sex?
No, never. No, I never like did anything with her. It was just
why
like,
is she reaching out?
Just to see how I'm doing.
That's weird.
She asked if she could come drink with me on my birthday.
That's
I was
weird.
like, well, no, I think you should hang out with your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay.
All right. Well, anything before we go? Do you have any last parting thoughts?
You're parting here? You're done?
No, I was anything before we go. Like,
Where
do you have
going?
anything? Oh, dude, we're going to Disneyland, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, because you gave me your top 5 shows, I was going to ask you top 5 movies.
Oh shit. Okay, that was premature to dip then. Top 5 movies. That has actually changed so drastically over time.
Okay.
The first movie that I declared my favorite was Inception. I love Inception. Love
Still
Christopher
haven't seen
Nolan. Oh my god.
I know, I'm an idiot. I'm going to probably watch it one of these nights. I guess I'm always... It's too long. I need to start it early, and I never started early enough.
I think so too. And it is... that was the first movie that was well before I ever smoked or drank or anything. I was just so entranced that I didn't think about anything related to real life for 2.5 hours. It was amazing.
That's what you want out of a movie.
Right, and it's literally a dream within a dream within a dream.
Ruining it. You're spoiling.
No, that's the tagline.
I know that.
Yeah. My friend says spoiler alert. Like, that's the title of the movie. What do you want me to say? But
it's called Lone Survivor.
Yeah, I know.
One guy's only one guy's gonna make it.
Yeah. Okay. That honestly, I don't know if it's still in my top 5. That's how much it changed so drastically.
So Inception was your first favorite movie, and now you don't even know if it's in your top 5.
Only because I've rewatched it. It's like the shock value the first time that you watch it. And also the visuals were impressive for 2010, but looking back, it's not as much.
Right.
I look at movies that are the most rewatchable. The ones that no matter what, you're always down to watch.
Right.
They're so creative. They're so funny. This is not my favorite, but Superbad is one of my
it's a good
top
movie.
5 for sure.
Okay.
Then out of nowhere, but Baby Driver. I fucking love Baby Driver.
I need to rewatch it because I was underwhelmed the first time I saw it, but I've heard so many positive things about it, and I did enjoy it, so I need to rewatch it.
I really felt like the main character. Like, he and I have so much in common in my view. Probably not, like, that's not how I actually am, but I view myself as Baby Driver.
Right.
I'm not a good driver, though.
Right.
Like, everything else. But
I think it was the baby thing I couldn't get past.
yeah, his name was not Baby. Like, that was so dumb.
Yeah.
Those two I really liked. If we're gonna go the best viewing experience for one of these types of movies, I love Doctor Strange, but it's not the most rewatchable. So
I need your top 5, man.
Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay. Infinity War.
I fucking love. I watched it like
Not
12.
Endgame.
I watched it like 12 times.
It's a good movie.
Dude. Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
No, that movie. It was so. The anticipation of a year before going into it. I became so obsessed. I was like that YouTube Marvel guy that was like, so what comic book secrets can I find out before Thanos unleashes his secret plans? And I'm just like, I hate myself.
Oh, God.
But, God. Okay. I can't believe I forgot this. The reason I brought up Kevin Spacey. American Beauty is my favorite movie. Like, without a doubt. Absolute favorite movie in the whole world.
I still haven't seen that either.
Oh, it's so incredible. And it won't hold up if you watch it now for the first time.
Why?
Because it's so creepy now.
Well, yeah, but I didn't...
Not even related to Kevin Spacey being a pedophile.
Oh.
It's
just because it's a different time.
Yeah, it's from 1999, and it's increasingly creepier when you find out the news now, but it's kind of about him having a crush on an 18-year-old girl in high school that's his daughter's best friend.
Of course.
And he's, like, trying to become a better person to hit on her and get with her, and it's not necessarily an inspiring movie, but it's such an honest movie. And it's so well crafted that, like, very rarely can the subtext of what's not being said be expressed, like, visually, you know? And it's the same director as 1917. I love Sam Mendes from that.
Right.
But that 5 spot, that's tough, honestly. There are so many movies that I've rewatched that I don't want to say I'm a comic book guy. I don't want to say I'm just a comedy guy. That is so hard to say.
See, I'm a huge comedy guy, but my top 5 doesn't have a comedy.
Exactly, right? Like, I know that I don't want to sound like a film buff and be like, oh, Gone with the Wind is my favorite. I mean, there are a lot of really, really good movies that aren't necessarily movies you watch every day. Inception's still up that list. Juno, I like that movie a lot.
I haven't seen that either.
Oh, dude, these are great movies you're missing out on.
I know. That's why I'm going back and rewatching all this.
Right. Oh, shit. I've never actually thought this, but have you heard of Birdman?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance?
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
That was wild. I watched that on a plane.
I've never recognized it as a top 5 movie, but if I recommend movies to people, that's almost one of my top ones every single time. Because it's so incredibly, brilliantly thought out, and just the visuals are not even the half of it. It's just how insane of a concept it got to be and how well crafted it became over how it's so synonymous with him as Batman in real life, and then it's him as Birdman, and it was just so many aspects of it I loved. But,
yeah, I did like it too, and I mean, I like Michael Keaton. He's fantastic.
All right, you're on the spot now. You get 5.
So Birdman's 5th?
I'll put an asterisk next to it. I'll put Inception / Birdman.
Okay.
Oh, no, The Dark Knight too. The Dark Knight's pretty good. I got 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my top 5, I've already decided it. It might change at some point, but it's right now. It's Departed, Goodfellas, Wolf of Wall Street, Dark Knight. Hang on. Oh, I just lost it. Departed, Goodfellas, Wolf of Wall Street, Dark Knight, Godfather. There we go.
Oh, so you like crime?
Oh, I love crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you elaborate, but I literally just realized that fifth movie was The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
When I said Birdman, I was just being a film critic. That's a great movie, but Wolf of Wall Street is like, I used to have a 6-foot-tall poster of Jordan Belfort in my room. So I stole it from the movie theater.
Nice.
Yeah. So with that transition, crime, you're just a really big crime guy.
Big crime guy. Love true stories too. So The Departed is loosely based on a true story. So is Goodfellas. So is Wolf of Wall Street. And honestly, so is The Godfather.
Right.
So I love true stories. I love crime. Love drugs. All those movies have that stuff. I love all the actors in those movies. 2 of those movies are directed by Scorsese, with Wolf and Departed. So yeah, I don't know. And Leo's in Wolf and Departed.
I hate being a heartthrob, but Leonardo DiCaprio is one of my favorite actors.
Same.
And the one that I haven't rewatched is The Revenant. I actually have never gone back and watched it again.
I want to rewatch it as well. I don't know why, but I did buy it on DVD, so I have it. And I want to rewatch it. That was a wild experience in theater too, especially The Bear.
I did not watch that in theaters. I used to have little get-togethers with my buddies in college where I would download the movies and like, hey everyone, it's movie night, let's get together and watch.
And that's what y'all watched?
Yeah.
Was Revenant?
Yeah, we went back-to-back nights. We did Revenant, Suicide Squad. So we had much better night the second night.
On Revenant?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody hated Suicide Squad?
Nobody liked it. And it's like, I get that you can like... I have friends that even like DC more.
Did you watch Birds of Prey?
Birds of Prey? I haven't seen it yet. Because I heard that's coming straight. Oh, is it? I heard it's coming straight to DVD. Or not straight to DVD, but early
it was already in theaters.
Early release.
It was in theaters for a month, yeah. It was in theaters for long enough.
I heard it's going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah,
and
it sucks.
Do you think it's going to be a flop in the grand scheme of things because of the central female lead, because of DC's stigma against their bad movies in their universe, or that stupidly weird long title that they had?
It's mostly the last 2.
Yeah.
I think, because to me, Suicide Squad had a nice buzz considering how bad the movie is, but I feel like it's pretty much come and gone for the most part. And yeah, DC has a stigma of bad movies, and I feel like really the only DC movies that people seem to have in a positive light right now are Aquaman and Wonder Woman.
No, not even Aquaman.
But mostly Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kind of liked Aquaman. Aquaman was okay. It sucked, but it was okay. It was better than most of their movies.
I treated it as a comedy, and I thought it was funny.
Right.
Because of the visuals.
Yeah. It was cool. I don't know. It's funny. It's cool. It's lame. It's funny. I don't know. I laughed at like the bad guys. I thought.
I just like when they fly underwater. And they would stick their arms forward and just like, I'm gonna go fast now.
Yeah. Well, you gotta buy into it. Maybe they didn't buy into it enough. They had some goofy fuckers too. The guy playing his half brother is so corny. I could not take him serious.
Patrick Wilson.
Yes, that is Patrick Wilson. Thank you. I looked him up and I already forgot his name. But anyway, so yeah, I think it's the stigma in the title, and it was a movie that came out in February. Not a lot of great movies come out in February.
They rarely do. It seems like a time where it's going to be a bad movie if it comes out in that time.
It's always summer and holidays, man.
Right.
Summer and holidays.
Even if it's January, it's like you're trying to make the Oscars just right before the Oscars.
Right.
It might not.
Or you're trying to kick off the new year like Bad Boys.
Right.
But
I've actually never seen either Bad Boys.
I've seen both of the. I haven't seen the newest one. I've seen the first 2, and they're both mad decent, but way too long. They're both 2.5 hours, and they're action comedies. Way too long for an action comedy.
I hate to sound like this pompous film person because I'm not really like this. I don't really just, this movie has such great cinematography and the writing was so intricate. Like I'm not that guy when I watch movies.
But we're kind of getting to that point because we've seen enough movies.
We've seen enough to where we can judge good from bad. But what I was about to get at was I actually gave basically the high school equivalent of a thesis on how movie creativity has gotten so poor and how writing is just gone completely out the window. Dialogue is bad, character development is bad, visuals have crazily improved, but doesn't that sometimes take away from the plot or sometimes get to be a worse movie?
Well, you can't make a good movie with just visuals.
Yeah, we've seen it tried numerous times.
Endless times.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they can't make a good video game movie. They can't make anything creative. So many things. And that's the other thing, too, is they'll have that thing where, a basic plot will happen, and they'll have like 2 or 3 other movies that same year that have that same basic plot.
Mm-hmm.
Like Olympus Has Fallen, White House Down, Is It Romantic, and I Feel Pretty. Just like stuff like that. Where
Ants and A Bug's Life.
Yes, there you go.
The Illusionist and
Prestige.
Prestige.
Yes.
Yeah, these are all.
Prime examples.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
All
Or
the
sometimes
time.
disaster movies.
Disaster movies happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
San Andreas 2012. All that.
Anything
shit.
The Rock's been in since.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's been a disaster, honestly. But yeah.
But no, I really respect the movies that are so original. The ones that just they don't conform to, oh, this is going to sell or this is going to do super well for my career. It's just a movie that's out and they just were impressed by the originality because there's so few original ideas anymore.
That's why I like true stories.
Mm-hmm. Right, especially they can take a true story, but everyone's getting true story movies now. It's like, oh yeah, this guy was the most popular race car driver ever. Sure, he deserves one. Like, oh, this was his wife. She gets a movie too. Oh yeah, this one is a historical figure, but half of these movies don't need to be made. And it's kind of funny that now there's all these actors and losing my point, but what I'm trying to say is that what will be a movie in the future from now? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, do you think there's going to be a coronavirus movie?
Probably. Somebody's going to make a crappy one and then somebody will eventually make a decent one.
Do you think it'd be a horror movie or like a historical movie?
Both.
Like
Maybe.
Contagion, like a real life Contagion?
Probably.
I actually had this pretty cool concept for an idea. I'll run it by you.
Alright.
I was working today and I had a lot of time to think. It's funny how we're saying we're quarantined, but we're still like as connected as ever to people through our phones. What if we're in quarantine and a phone dies, but you don't have a phone charger in quarantine and you're literally not able to leave your house? So you don't have your phone. Maybe you could continue the plot of you don't have a laptop.
Okay.
Right, because I know that's what you're getting at. Let's say, like I was saying earlier, AT&T stops working.
Right.
Okay, you don't have a phone to call them. You leave your house. There's like people patrolling outside. You can't leave your house for 2 weeks. So it's legitimate quarantine inside your house. You can only eat what you have inside. You have no connectedness to the outside world. It's literally like your house arrest. Do you think you could make it? And would it be a horror movie, or would it be like coming to terms with the fact that we're all so digitally obsessed that we don't know what to do with our time otherwise?
Right. It's just how long could you drag that out?
I have always
Because
imagined...
I have a hard time with movies that take place in one setting.
I was going to call it Bottled Up.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a bottle episode.
Yeah.
But or my other idea is digital quarantine.
Okay.
Or something like that. But digital isolation. But I just think it's a cool concept of what would you do if you had all this time, like gradual insanity.
Okay.
But I don't really know where it would go yet.
Right.
I get these vague ideas of what you would do, and this, like, you could see, like, you know, sometimes people write, not really in real life, but diaries. You'd be like, okay, this is what I'm doing on day 1, day 2, day 3. But what if it got dragged out well past 2 weeks, where it got to be like 215 days? And
Right. But I mean, isn't that kind of like Anne Frank at this point? Like, I mean,
that's not my first thought, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little bit Anne Frank.
yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
know, that's what they did.
Yeah,
They
I did not see that one coming.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't know. It's the first thing I thought of when you thought of, like...
Did you get my Nazi joke?
No.
I did not see that one
Oh,
coming.
God, dude, I'm bald today, dude. I think this quarantine's messing up my sense of humor. I don't
Right.
talk to anybody anymore, so I don't... missing jokes. I'm so disappointed in myself. But yeah, I don't. And that movie too. I mean, if there's people patrolling, can't you just poke your head out and be like, "Hey, man, like I'm fucked up in here. Like,
Well,
go get help."
I have this idea that kind of I'm stemming two ideas
Robots
together.
patrolling.
Robots patrolling, shit, yeah.
Because if it's people, you can just talk.
Well, you could get a robot to send you a phone charger, but you need a phone to do that in the first place.
Right.
So,
Well, you just talk to the robot.
well, it would be kind of like a social commentary on how would you react if you didn't have a phone.
How would you react if you didn't have a phone? Can you go without your phone?
Yeah, no, I'm not a full. I've actually, God, that sounds bad, but I've never gone a full day as an adult without a phone. I've gone a full 12-hour period where I went to college, like I did all my classes. I just walked around campus and realized there's so many things I've just never gone and done. I just donated blood. I went and coached a basketball team, and I just left my phone at home the whole time. I had an amazing time. But then I realized when you have a problem is when you run back home and you're like, oh my God, look at all these texts I have. I'm so cool. But it's the fact that it's going to be there at some point in time is what gives you that relief.
Right.
Maybe rather than just being quarantined and not having phones is like, what if all phones just stopped working? And it could start in the quarantine, but then you go back outside after. You're like, what? Do we like communicate? I can't take a picture of what I'm doing right now. Like, am I even doing this right now?
Right.
Like, I'm at the gym, but like, who sees me?
Who
right?
knows I'm at the gym?
Do I even eat this food? Like, what is happening?
You just take a photo of it.
Right. I bet people would still have a phone, even though they're not doing anything with it. They would just hold it in front of them. But
as you can tell, I mean, I'm not very good with my phone.
That's the thing. I feel like I'm fake woke. I have all the ideas of what I would do if I was a good or a better person,
right?
And I don't do them.
Yeah,
so
I'm
obsessed with Twitter and using my phone. I text people all the time, and it's just like too much of my life runs through my phone, right? And I know that it's a bad thing for you.
Right.
It's statistically proven that higher screen time gives you worse eyesight and social connectedness, and it's like higher links to anxiety and depression.
Right.
But we all are just obsessed.
Right.
And I'm one of them, and I recognize that, but I'll see myself doing it and be like, yeah, that's what's happening. So if you said you're not good with phones, do you just not use them often? Or
I'm just terrible at texting. Like, I don't text.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do anything. Like, honestly, all I do if I use my phone is like look at memes real quick, maybe look at some like, the slut stories, and like that's about it.
What's the meme spot if you're not on social media constantly?
Just it's all Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I need more meme accounts, honestly, because I've got like the 3 popular ones, but they're all.
I feel like I get enough of them, and I like check people's stories when I'm pooping, and I poop like 2 or 3 times a day. So like I'm getting all of Jose's memes too, and like anybody else that posts memes.
That's what I miss about having an office job. I had 4 poops minimum, and like I could eat whatever I want. It's free coffee, and you just pour through you.
Yeah, you just shit all day.
I would just play Mario Kart all day. I was watching movies on the toilet. Like, you do whatever you want.
I do miss that.
Yeah, but
but
I think that in the future there has to be some way that we can become more aware of our digital usage, because there's no consequences right now. The only thing that I've noticed is that because we're Generation X, I believe. No, we're Generation Z. We're not millennials. We're like a year or 2 off.
I'm millennial.
Oh, you are? You're 25?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So we're a different class. Wow. I'm 20. It literally cuts off between us.
You sure?
It's like 1995 is the cutoff point. I'm 96.
I thought they bumped it back to like 1980 or 1985 or something.
Oh no, but it ends at 95. Like millennials stop at 95, and then everything else is like the new one now, Gen Z.
You're Gen Z then?
Yeah.
I'm millennial. Yeah.
That's crazy to me because I hate people. Whenever they say, "Oh, millennials, all they do is buy lattes and avocado toast," it's like, well, you're talking about the wrong generation.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know who does. Some people do. I don't know. It's kind of the point now where we're so gender fluid. Like everybody just.
I hate that term.
I love it. It's our favorite
term. It
term.
means nothing.
I know.
There's also a whole group of people on dating apps that are just like, yeah, it's he, her, him, she, they. Also, but
oh God,
yeah.
I don't see that. I haven't seen a whole lot of that. I've just seen trans on Facebook
You gotta
dating.
dive deep in there.
There's a lot of trans on Facebook dating, but luckily they're nice enough to normally put it in their profile.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been a few where I couldn't tell, like the first and then we matched, and I looked at them and I was like, this looks like a guy.
They actually touched that on the Curb episode last night. They have a real life transition person who's now male, but in the episode, it's a recurring female character on the show that is now male, which is a completely new actor, but. He had the surgery, and I guess you're allowed to choose the size of your dick, right? So he gave himself a comically large dick, right? Like just long. It's so funny because he's just a really small guy, and he keeps knocking things over. He keeps turning around too quickly with an open robe and knocking shit over. He ends up starting a fire by accident because he's knocking over candles. Oh man, but.
That's hilarious. That's why I love Curb. I think of all sitcoms, Curb, it might be slow at times, but it gave me the biggest laughs.
Mm-hmm. It has such a good job of, most shows follow the formula of, this is plot A, and then there's subplots going on, but Curb always wraps it up.
Cheap joke there.
Right, and there's no laugh track. It's literally just constant building for this one big reveal at the end of everything submerging into one big laugh.
Yeah.
No.
But sometimes there's big laughs in the middle too, especially when he's got JB Smoove, Leon.
Oh, I love him so much.
Yeah, when he's got Leon in there, dude.
Uh-huh.
I love those episodes when he has that family. It's the best.
Oh, the Meet the Blacks.
Yes, dude. Some of the biggest laughs come from Leon and whatever the chick's name is that Larry has like a weird relationship
Affair with. I forget
yeah.
her name too. But God, it's so funny that I've been watching more about Larry David, not just him as a writer, but his career path, how he got started. He was a comedy writer, and then he tried to do stand-up, and he wasn't funny. Like, nobody... He got booed off stage, and he would fight people verbally on stage. Yep. But then he wrote for SNL. I don't know if you knew that. But he wrote for SNL for a couple of years. But at the first stint, he wrote there for maybe 2-3 weeks. He had so many sketches he wrote that were so far out there that were not landing. They never made it on the air. So then they pulled him aside. They're like, hey, you should probably, like... try to clean it up a little bit, maybe be a little bit more straight edge and not really be so bombastic. And he goes, fuck you, this is my writing, I love my writing, this show sucks, you guys suck, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. And he blew up so publicly in front of everybody. He dipped and went home and talked to his friend. He's like, yeah, man, I think I just ruined my career. I just like basically verbally blew up on everybody in front of SNL. And they said, well, you know what you should do as a joke is just go back to work on Monday and totally pretend like that never happened. And see what they say. Just like worst case scenario, they let you stay, but best case scenario, or no, worst case scenario, they just you quit. So he does that. He went back to a meeting. He like brought donuts for everybody. He's like, "Hey guys, I mean, how's your weekend? Everything good? I had a great time." And no one brought it up. And he continued to write there for like 2 more years.
And he cleaned up the sketches, I'm assuming.
No, he was a terrible writer. Like he's a great writer for the kind of shows you see on HBO. For SNL, it never worked.
Right.
Like he just couldn't. It never added up. There's a lot of famous writers from SNL that didn't find fame until after.
Right. Did you watch Seinfeld at all?
Yeah, I love that. That's
okay, because there was, I mean, an early episode where George does the same thing because George is loosely based on...
it's based on that story.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. That's what I figured.
God. And that's why I love watching Seinfeld now and seeing how similar the two are, because it's really just a 7-inch shorter version of Larry David.
And it's amazing how Jason Alexander is George.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is his own person who is super similar to Larry David, but he's still like his own guy. Because when I watch Curb and I watch Seinfeld, I'm like, yes, I see the connection, but they're both also so different because George is so quick. Sometimes Larry's very slow on Curb Your Enthusiasm, but in Seinfeld, George is very like quick paced. Like he's quick when he talks.
Irritable.
He's irritable. His jokes are quick. He'll get happy or angry quicker. Larry tends to kind of stay in a mood. Like I don't know.
You know something you could see the writing like come to fruition. You know exactly who came up with it. Have you seen these pretzels were making me thirsty?
Yeah.
That came straight out of Larry David's mind of these pretzels are making me thirsty. But he do it like 7 times. Oh God.
And I love that Larry David's a small character in random episodes of Seinfeld.
Like George Steinbrenner.
Steinbrenner, he's Frank Costanza's lawyer that wears a cape in that one episode. Like, that's directly him. And they're like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Frank Costanza's lawyer.
I haven't gone back and watched a ton of Seinfeld. I just recently re-added it to my desktop. But it's the one show with a laugh track. You could also group friends in there, but ones that I'll actually go back and watch more.
Those are 2 shows in my top 5.
Right. Okay. Oh, yeah, you never got to you said your movies, not your shows.
Seinfeld, Friends, Weeds, SpongeBob. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot SpongeBob. Scooby-Doo. Most of that, SpongeBob and Scooby-Doo are nostalgia, but I still watch SpongeBob. I watch SpongeBob just about every night.
Just about every night?
Yeah, I have 10 seasons on, well, I have the first 10 seasons minus season 9 on DVD.
I don't think I've watched it since the last time I babysat.
Yeah.
Like, I do watch it, but I never have the ability to.
It's good.
Yeah. No, I mean, is there a favorite episode that comes to mind?
There's a few. Most of them are early episodes because those are the easiest to remember, but there's definitely like current episodes that I like. I just couldn't tell you.
Is it still on? Like news? Didn't
If
someone die? One of the main people the creator of the show died.
Creator of the show died, yeah. Not SpongeBob.
Not Tom Kenny.
Right.
Yeah.
So the creator of the show died. They're coming out with a movie this year. It's coming out in May. Don't know if it's going to get delayed. But it is a movie going to theaters, supposedly.
I love the first movie, too.
Yeah. Did you see the second one?
I didn't know there was a second one.
I did. It was wild. I have it on DVD. Anyway.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. I fucking love Scooby Doo, dude.
Right.
Because I don't really watch TV that much. So if you base it off what I've watched the most, like it's got to be Scooby Doo or something that I just can't think of right now that I'm not going to bother wasting your time with. So you know what I mean? Because I just don't watch.
Fair.
I don't watch that. Oh, Narcos maybe. You could throw Narcos instead of Scooby Doo.
I like Narcos, but I've never put in that class. You know, one show that I didn't mention, but
Sopranos.
Yeah, great show, great show. I was going to say
Curb.
Yeah.
I'd put Curb or Sunny. See,
yeah.
I forget.
There's so many. I
forget. So that'd probably be like you probably get rid of Scooby and replace it with any of those shows. All those.
I just look in terms of if I want to go into a random episode and watch it, and I know that I've seen it, know everything that's going to happen, but it's still making me laugh. That's a perfect show. But what I was going to say is shows that kind of entrance you in this universe that mostly it's dramas, obviously the ones that are giving you a much more in-depth, like, what's going to happen? I can't believe it. Game of Thrones. You ever been a Game of Thrones fan? I was very against Game of Thrones for probably, like, 2 years. When it first started coming out, my dad, huge fantasy nerd. He reads all the books, and he's got probably, like, action figures. And, so
wonder where you got it from.
No. I'm the cool with like my mom, but
yeah.
So basically he was like, Kerb, watch the show, and I said okay. So I watched the first season, didn't care for it. I just didn't like it. And then probably 3 years go by, and I was then in high school, and then I was not allowed to watch it. Like my dad was like I'll watch it with you, but he would literally not let me watch certain parts because half of it is sex and naked girls. But then it became this element of like, oh, it's the show that I can't watch by myself. So I watched the first season and the second season in like 3 days, which takes a lot. And then it just became fascinating to me. And then it became a social norm, like everyone's talking about it. When the last season came out, the world just ended. I mean, it was so popular, and then they just crumbled it so quickly.
Yeah.
But I also respect it if you haven't seen it. Like, it's a big part of pop culture, but
huge.
You don't have to just be obsessed with everything that everyone else says.
Did you watch The Wire?
Mm-hmm. I got pranked into watching that show, which makes no sense. But I had this buddy who's the biggest prankster I know. He's also probably the smartest person I know, so those go hand in hand.
Right.
So he said, we're having this exact same conversation. What's your favorite show? What's the best show ever? And it's like the highest rated show of all time online. So on IMDb mostly.
Right.
But I had never seen it, and it was on HBO. I just figured out how to download shows. So then I said, well, have you seen The Wire? He goes, yes, it's my favorite show. You have to watch it. Oh my God. So I downloaded all of season 1. I watched it so quickly. And I was probably 16, 17. So I didn't really get a lot of it, but I still loved it. It was a good show. And then I said, well, should I keep going? He goes, yeah, 2, 3, keep going, 4. So I spent like a whole summer. I'm just obsessed with the show, watching nothing else. And I was like, Gregory, I like this show, but it's not like an all-timer. Like, what is up with it? Like, does it get really good in the last season? He goes, you have no idea what's about to happen in this final season. So I watched all of it, and I was generally impressed but underwhelmed with his expectations.
Well, it sounds like you were letting him hype you up.
Exactly. So I was like, Gregory, what about this show is so amazing? He goes, I have never seen that show. He just pulled the rug out from under me.
He's like,
he conned me into watching 60 hours of a TV show.
And he's like, and now all he gets is your impression of it being
He never even brought up a character that
he
wasn't like, yeah,
well, you didn't talk to him about character details and show
No,
plots?
I don't know what I was doing, man. I was just like, because we only saw each other in passing or in class or here and there.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I never asked him, like, what about...
Like, what do you think about, Michael Kenneth as the bad guy? I still need to watch.
It's good.
Especially considering I like crime. I can't do TV shows because I feel like I'm watching a movie a day and I'm not getting anywhere because it's the same characters.
I think about it in a different way. It's like a movie is so many millions of dollars and takes so long to coordinate, blah, blah, blah. But this is like so much more than a movie. They just kept the universe going and they basically have their own pace. They don't have to release beginning, middle, and end of a story.
Yeah.
They can literally go any direction that they want. They can get any actor that they want generally to be any guest star.
Yeah. And
it's so well, I mean, for 6+ seasons, that takes a long time to tell a story.
Yeah.
But that's why Breaking Bad is my favorite. That was like 6 years of
epicness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw a few episodes and I was like, I get why this show's amazing, but I just had no desire to keep watching it.
Not Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad.
Right.
So where did you cut off?
I literally went over to a friend's house one day and like it was, I don't know. It was one of those friends to where we just never could decide what we were going to do, so we just sat around and did nothing. And, like, they were watching Breaking Bad on Netflix, and I was like, oh, this is the show everyone's talking about. She's like, yeah, you totally need to watch it with me. And I'm like, okay, I'm watching it. And I watched, like, 2 or 3 episodes with her, and I was like, yeah, this is really good. And I didn't see her often enough, so, like, she...
Oh, you were stuck to watching it with her as opposed to...
No, I wasn't stuck watching it with her. It's just, like, I had seen... She was at season 1 whenever her and I watched it together, and, like, the next time I saw her, she was almost done with her... Like, she was on season 3 or 4.
Okay, so...
And I was like, oh, okay, well, now I don't really know what's
TV
going on.
show cheating.
Right. Yeah. I was like, I don't really know what's going on, and I don't really feel like starting from the beginning, and I was just like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I don't know.
We'll leave it at that.
I didn't care.
If you're as much of a film person as you say...
I'm not.
Well, yeah, so...
I mean, what do you think? Do you think I'm a film person?
To have a podcast pretty much not devoted to movies, but like this heavily, we've talked for like 2 hours about it now.
Right.
But it's so much better visually, acting wise, directing wise, writing wise, creativity wise, story wise. There's no show. I can't even think of what my second drama would be. I like shows like Dexter, Sopranos, Game of Thrones.
Wait, what show?
Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad has everything you could ever imagine in a TV show, and so much better than anything else.
That's what I think about Weeds.
That's why I liked it. I didn't love it to that extent. I did like it a lot. I never rewatched it though. I just watched it the first time.
Yeah, I rewatched it with whoever I was dating at the time because I was like, you have to see this show.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will admit, not in the same fashion as like watching it with somebody, but I did the same thing. I watched like 5 episodes, just kind of gave up, and I waited like 2 more years, and then I kept back. Man, I guess I'll watch it, and then I went around 8 seasons or more. It's just of Weeds.
Yeah, there's 8 or 9. Yeah.
Right, and then there were some weird plot lines like, oh, they're in Amsterdam now, or
towards the end, it was getting wild, but you could still kind of believe it. You're like, this is crazy, and then kind of around like, I don't know, 5, 6, and then definitely at the end, you're like, okay, this is a little out there.
Right.
Because they're like dealing, hash. They're making hash in dryers in a Winnebago on the go, running from the cartel after one of them, like after the son kills one of them, a cartel member, or the president, I think, of the cartel, her husband.
Right. Well, that's the one direction that shows sometimes go, is sometimes they're knowing that they're popular and they want to keep the show going, as opposed to telling the story the right way.
Right.
Like a movie, they envision it, and then it's like, this is what I'm making. But then some shows, kind of like The Office, honestly, I love it to death, but they could have capped it at like 6 or 7 seasons. They pushed it to 9, and there's characters that should not have been on the show anymore, or they just kept going.
Who do you think shouldn't have been on the show?
Well, towards the latter half, remember there was one guy called Plop, there was a Clark, and there was Pete. These are people that they're not even regulars. They just added characters to make it more reasonable.
More storyline.
Because there's no, at the end there was no Michael, and then, I mean, they made Ryan was hardly on it, I felt like.
Didn't Michael come back, though, at the end?
He didn't even have a line. All he said was, that's what she said.
On the last episode?
Yeah, in the finale,
So he wasn't even in the final season?
No.
Except for...
He was in the final 2 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I stopped after like season 5.
That's where it was peak. Peak was season 5. That's right when Jim and Pam got engaged, and when everything was just going perfect. But no, so that's where 6 is where it famously got bad. 7 is where he eventually left. 8 was when they made Andy the manager, and then 9 was they let Dwight do it. They brought in a whole different company to take over their company, and it just got to be too many things.
Yeah.
But all right, well, this has been a wonderful 2 hours.
Yeah, we made it to 2 hours. Honestly, I'm about to piss my pants. Yeah,
it's cool. Do it live on air. Do it right now.
I was going to.
Truth or dare.
I'll do dare. I'm gonna piss on the microphone right now.
I've never gone for 2 hours before.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome to the big leagues. This is nice. This is Joe Rogan territory that you're entering in.
Yeah, no, we just talked about earlier how there's no way we could possibly talk for 3. I know we could, but I also do have work in like 7 hours.
Oh shit! Yeah. I didn't realize you had work early.
Oh, I work at 7 a.m. now.
It's my bad. Every day.
So no, this coronavirus got us gotten weird jobs now. So I'm doing manual labor with a bunch of El Salvadorians.
That just seems like you're trying to get corona at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like this is unsafe. Like I'm going to random people's houses and
when is this going to get shut down? If we, I guess if we have to do quarantine, like hardcore quarantine.
It should hardcore quarantine.
Nice.
But they should have announced it tonight if it was going to take effect in Harris County. So we don't really know yet. It was supposed to be either tomorrow morning or tonight, but we also haven't been paying attention to the news.
Right, because I'm thinking about hitting up like Taco Bell or Whataburger on my way home.
I would assume it would be like tonight at midnight if
right.
it was.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck.
So you got like 53 minutes.
Okay, well, do you have any parting thoughts? Your first episode of the Decent Show. Let me ask you this. How about this? On the Decent Show, we have a rating scale for everything that we consume.
Okay.
And that rating scale consists of Garbaggio being the lowest, low-key Garbo above that, so that's like your F and your D. Your C, your middle of the pack, is decent, and that's our favorite thing on this show because it's the Decent Show. Now, granted, like we like embracing that, but like if we love something, it's Fuego, which is our highest ranking.
Right.
So it's decent, mad decent, Fuego. So in terms of your experience on the first episode of the Decent Show, where would you rank it?
Dude, we had a lot of moments, and I felt like we had some Fuego moments. We did have some mad decent moments. Yeah, I'm gonna invent a tier between Mad Decent and Fuego.
Okay.
And
what could have gotten it to Fuego for you?
Shit, I don't know. Like another drink, maybe.
Yeah, probably. That probably.
No, we had a good time
here.
here.
That would have made it.
I don't know. See, the one thing I was really happy about is that you can be unfiltered. I've always been watching what I'm saying. Just like when you go to an office and even you make friends, but you like have to hold things back the whole time.
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a nice. That's what really put it over the top for me. Is I feel like my podcast is not the best in the world, but it is the best that it can be right now.
That's good.
Without an audience.
That's good.
This one, I think the limit is there's unlimited potential.
Yeah, we want to do more stuff. Like we're trying. We got to get video. We want to do more interactive stuff, more challenges, more things.
Have you ever considered video?
That's what I just said. Yeah, we want to do.
I did not listen at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. That was the first thing I said. Is we want to get on video.
What about interactive stuff?
Like we want to do like challenges, like blind. Yeah, exactly. We want to do that. We want to do like blind taste testings. I know people already do that.
Oh, like games and segments.
Yeah, just
I like that.
Just to challenge each other.
You ever watch Hot Ones?
Right.
Yeah. So where they were like, "Hey, what's that? Something about gram? Like, we'll explain that gram, or like, let's talk about this."
Yep.
Those are cool concepts because that's a recurring show that people just tune into every day.
Right.
I just watch people that I don't even care about.
Now he has a cable show though.
Yeah, it's kind of the downfall of a lot of those people.
How much money is cable paying him for him to stop doing that YouTube show?
He's still doing it. He's still doing it.
He's doing both?
Yeah.
So he's stupid rich then?
Oh, at this point, yeah. He's probably one of the more top 5 people on YouTube.
Yeah.
I went to high school with one of the other top 5 people on YouTube. Her name is Liza Koshy.
Heard of it.
And her ex that she broke up with publicly online is one of the other top 5 people. So that's like 3 of the top 5 right there. Huh?
What's the other one?
His name is David Dobrik, is that guy.
I think I've heard.
But that's 2. They've actually both been on Hot Ones. So that's literally
They've both been on Hot Ones?
Separately.
I've never seen them.
Yeah, Liza did it. She actually shouted out my high school when we were there, or she was there, like I was there too.
Yeah.
And then David was one of the more recent ones. And I don't know who, I don't really follow. I'm sure it's some streaming guy, like somebody playing video games and streaming. I think that's the dumbest, not necessarily career path.
Oh, Ninja?
People like that, like PewDiePie. I don't even play video games to that extent. Why would I watch someone else play video games?
I never understood it either.
I had a roommate that obsessively did that.
Yeah.
He would just sit in his room and eat sunflower seeds and just watch.
I had a gang of friends that do and still do that.
Your friends are in a gang?
Yeah. No. Sorry, I didn't know what else to say. A group, sorry.
A gaggle?
A gaggle.
Yeah.
A small gathering of friends.
Right.
They were all in the dorms. They did that shit, and they still do it. They're like watching League on Twitch and stuff.
Yep,
And I'm just like, I tried watching because I love 2K and I love basketball. I tried watching the 2K League on Twitch. I got through like a day, and I was like, this is trash. I don't feel like watching this. I was like, I just don't enjoy it.
Even in quarantine, that's not like a preferred thing to do. Like I would rather do my taxes probably.
It has to be on in the background.
Yeah.
It has to be something I can not get upset if I miss something.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
Just ignore basically.
Right. But all right, dude. Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
Hey, no, thanks for coming on. I'm sorry it wasn't Fuego, dude. We're gonna try.
Oh no, I was just messing with you. I was trying to invent a set. I never actually came up with a term. I was trying to come up with something between Mad Decent. Perfecto would probably be the highest, right?
Yeah.
What's a little bit lower than Fuego?
You could do Bueno.
Bueno? No, that doesn't seem good. Good.
Bueno is good.
I know that, but I meant like it doesn't seem
better.
It's not better than Mad Decent. Mad Decent sounds pretty good. There's a label. There's an EDM label.
Mucho Bueno.
It's
Muy bueno. It doesn't have to be Spanish. I don't know why.
I assumed it had to be. I don't know why.
I don't know. I was obsessed with Spanish for a second. Because
I've been speaking Spanish all day, actually, so that's why it's on my mind.
Right.
But, yeah, I think... I don't know why I'm trying to think of, like, incinerate. I'm thinking of, like, in Hot Ones terms now, like, incinerating its fuego.
Right. It's... the scorch level.
It's pretty hot. I had a pretty hot time.
It was hot, yeah.
Scorching.
Yeah.
I'd say scorch.
Good. All right, well, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you tweet us your gender pronoun. Hopefully we can get an episode with me, Reagan, and Kerby at some point. Just keep listening to our content. We'll keep creating it. For Kerby, I'm Ryan. You guys have a great night.
Adios.